Get ready.
Hello there, everybody. Welcome to a very special episode of the Play to Win podcast. My name is Keiran. I'm, of course, joined by Tyler. How's it going?
Hello, I'm doing well, Keiran. You?
I'm doing pretty good. A little bit hectic to get four people's things set up, but we're all good. We're all set up, ready to go. We have a couple of guests on, Colin and Luke from the Gameaholic Pod. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic. Super happy to be here. Super exciting episode.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's gonna be exciting to do a nice little collab here.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's going to be fun. It's probably going to be pretty lengthy. I'm very excited to get into it. Quick couple of housekeeping things. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Play2Win where you get updates on YouTube videos, podcasts, random stuff that we post, anything. You can also follow Colin and Luke at Gameaholic Podcast on Instagram and Twitch, and at Gameaholic Pod on Twitter. I'll throw you guys. You guys can plug for a little bit if you want.
Yeah, sure. Love it. So yeah, as these guys had graciously said, we are the Gameaholic Podcast. You can catch us on essentially any of the major podcast listening apps. We normally try to break down each episode with a game. So either we do nostalgic games, we do some of the new games, or just some popular games over the years. We've created a 5-point rating system that I think that we're both really, really proud of, that breaks down different aspects of different games so people can understand exactly where a game rates based off of different qualities seen within the game. Anything else to add on to that, Colin?
No, I think you nailed it.
Yeah, I will say, just before we get into stuff, I listened to your Destiny episode. As a big Destiny fan, I really enjoyed that.
Love it. So glad to hear. Actually, I don't know if you can see, boom, symbol of Crota right there. So, I mean, I'm a big enough Destiny fan to get it tattooed on my arm. So, like, absolutely, I'm so glad, one Destiny fan to another, that you saw some value in there.
Yeah, 100%. I will say that I believe it's Colin who has an ungodly amount of time in Destiny.
Me.
Okay.
You got the tattoo.
That the 900 900 hours we're talking about.
Yeah, and not quite as big as the 15,000 world record, but still 900
not
hours.
Not quite
is
there, but I'm top 16% of players. I don't know if I should be ashamed of that or touched by it.
No.
But somewhere in the middle, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, like put that on a plaque, frame it somewhere. You gotta do something.
Yeah,
highlight that.
I know, and I'm still awful at the game, so I think it just shows that there's just so much that you can do in there. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, you and me both. I'm terrible. Yeah, so like I say, you can follow them on Instagram and Twitch at Gameaholic Podcast, and on Twitter at Gameaholic Pod. Just a very small rundown of what we're going to be talking about. First off, we're going to have a little bit of a Q&A about kind of our histories with E3. Following that, we will have our predictions for the main kind of events that we'll go through, and we'll go through those as we get to them. And then at the end, we'll have like a little speed round, so if anyone has any leftover predictions or predictions for someone that we didn't go through, then we can fire them off in there.
Cool.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a good one.
Yeah. Starting off with a little bit of a Q&A. First question is, how long have we watched E3? Tyler, I'll throw it to you first, and we'll go around the table.
Okay, so I've watched since I was a kid. I want to say elementary school. It's hard to say the first year, but I would hazard a guess to say 2005 or 2006. Maybe 2005 sounds right. Probably 2005, because I remember watching on G4. That's how I started watching E3, and every year after that, I would just watch it there.
Yeah, you are much earlier than. Sorry, on you go.
Nope. No, I was just gonna say I can go next. Yeah, like I was just gonna say way earlier than me. I've always been obviously super interested in E3 in terms of, I guess, what age I was at versus what games I was playing. So I mean, back in 2005 or whatever, like I was more of the Nintendo type of guy, like super interested in seeing what Nintendo's going to be doing and everything like that. But I mean, I can remember some of the biggest games being talked about at E3 from years and years ago. So I think as time's kind of gone on, I've watched more and more and more, whereas I used to just watch highlights for people I care about, developers I care about. But now it's more just, I just want to know what everybody's doing, because now I have memories and experiences probably with almost every single gaming company that's out there. So everybody can release a banger each year, and it's just like, when are they going to do it? So I have my eyes on all of them at this point.
Yeah, and then I'll throw it to you next.
Yeah, I honestly, a lot later than 2005. I would say probably when I was in high school, between like 2010 and 2014, I was probably like constantly like, I didn't really actively watch it per se. I was more just like, I'd go on the YouTube and like they would like show gameplay highlights. So they'd go off of like gameplay highlights, and I would like look at certain games I was interested in at the time. Like a lot of Assassin's Creed stuff, Far Cry when it first started, like Far Cry 3, I remember like in 2012 was like my big thing. I remember watching a lot of trailers on that. And then the big one when I actually started like kind of like getting into the event itself and watching, like, was when they announced the Xbox One. So that's when I kind of like really sat down and like watched it live. So what was that, 2013 probably? So that's when I kind of started picking up. I'm still not like constantly watching it every year. I won't like sit there and watch the whole event, but I'll watch like certain like highlights or films of certain things, or maybe I'll jump in when it's like live for like a certain like company and things like that. That interests me anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in a similar boat to Colin and Luke. I definitely started watching after 2005. I don't think I started like actively watching it until maybe like, I think the year before the Xbox One was announced. I think maybe like 2012. But since then, like every single year, I have made sure that like I don't know if this is kind of sad to be fair, but like taking time off work, made sure I'm not on holiday. Like favorite week of the year, sit down, watch E3. But yeah, definitely haven't been watching it as long as Tyler has.
See, you guys are making me feel like an old head over here. Like, I say 2005, everyone's like, "Oh dear God, what? Clutch the pearl." Just like, how could you? And let me clarify. Although I've watched it really since 2005, 2006, in those early years, I was like 9-10 years old around that time. So
Fair.
I didn't really pay attention to the press conferences.
Yeah.
It was more so like I put it on because I knew this is where announcements were made. And like, say Sony's talking, I didn't pay a lick of attention until I heard something that I actually cared about. It wasn't until like maybe 2009, 2010 when I actually started really paying attention to the entire shows. And I was like, that's when I was really more invested in it. But prior to that, I was just like, I'll have it on and I'll watch what I actually care and stuff. But, you know, like I've always also been like fortunate enough in the past where I didn't have anything to do during that week, whether it be like school, I maybe didn't have school for some reason, so I was able to pay attention to the stuff and watch it, or didn't have work. This is the first year where I actually have work during that week. So I'm like, all right, let me see. I need to know what's happening on certain days. So like maybe I could take off a day or two. I got the time. I can use it.
Yeah. I think we can just all agree that Tyler is definitely the nerdiest out of all of us for E3 stuff.
I guess
I
it
have
makes
a
sense,
video
right?
game.
I'll
half
take
sleeve,
it.
So I don't know who hits that nerdy level here as much, but like I'm definitely up there. I can admit that.
I guess it makes sense though, because like E3 is normally the beginning of June, so I mean it's not like we're in school like growing up, so it made sense to like be able to like sit down and actually watch it if you wanted to.
Yep.
Fair
I'll take
point.
the title though. Whatever you want to throw at me.
Next question is, what are some of our favorite parts of E3? Luke, I'll throw it to you first.
Sure, yeah. For me, it's always been Sony. I have been a PlayStation obsessed person since like that was one of my first systems after probably the Nintendo 64 was the PlayStation 2. So I like it. It's always been Sony for me. I am also a massive fan of 2K. Whenever they've kind of been involved in there, BioShock, one of the best games, arguably, I think, ever made.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned it. I have like a full BioShock half sleeve going on. Like it's just, that's like my game. So 2K has always been massive for me, and Borderlands also 2K. So I think that for me, at least, those are probably the two showcases that I've seen that have absolutely fired me up and that I look forward to every year, because I mean, PlayStation exclusives for me have just been incredible, and they're just getting better and better. And then 2K, I'm always hoping they'll do something cool.
Yeah, we are definitely somewhat on the same page. Borderlands 2 is my favorite first-person shooter. 100%.
I have a nice little claptrap and the Borderlands sign for you here too.
Nice.
He's got everything over there.
Yeah, I was
know,
going to say, we
literally,
should start a bingo card. Tyler, I'll throw it to you.
Okay, so I guess my favorite part would probably be Sony as well, just because I've had every single PlayStation. PlayStation is like my preferred platform, although I pay attention to everyone. They're my preferred platform. So yeah, they're my favorite part. I love seeing what they bring out and all. Like the 2016's E3 press conference, their Sony one. Like I don't know if everyone can agree, but like that's one of the best press conferences from E3, I think, of all time. Like that one, down to remember, Kevin Butler, bringing him out on stage. I forgot what year that was, 2011 or 2010, whenever that was, such a cool thing. But my favorite E3 from Sony just has to be 2013. I mean, because it's the lead up to the PS4, but that's where they announced Kingdom Hearts 3. And that was just, as a Kingdom Hearts fan, having waited so long to see those words on screen just meant so much. It meant the world to me that night. And I was like, this is it. So yeah, Sony's always just highlight for me.
Mm-hmm. I think one of my favorite things that come out of a Sony E3 press conference, I think this was at E3, it's like, here's how you share games with your friends on PS4. It's just, yes. I forget his name, but handing somebody a PS4 game.
Yeah, that was after their press conference, because before that, Microsoft had their whole DRM, whole online Xbox One scandal going on.
Yeah.
And then after their press conference, Sony put out the video. It was Shuhei Yoshida giving it to Adam Boyes, doing it, the whole share thingy.
Yeah. Colin.
Yeah. For myself, probably my favorite parts would be mostly Xbox stuff, because I'm the opposite of Luke and Tyler. I'm a big Xbox guy. So mostly Xbox games I'll like look into. I'm kind of jealous of you guys with the exclusives sometimes. I see some of the great exclusives you guys have, like Last of Us and everything. That kind of sucks not getting that over here. We got Bethesda, so yeah, let's go. Finally, we got something, which is really dumb. I think exclusive games kind of suck. In general, exclusive games kind of suck, because I feel like everyone should get a chance anyways. But my favorite parts, I guess, like I said, Xbox. And if you can see around my room, big sports guy. I got a Newcastle hat on, so FIFA. I like FIFA a lot. FIFA's probably one of my favorite games. I think EA did a really outstanding job with it. Cleveland Browns, so football, American football in a sense. Madden. I'm not a big fan of playing the games, but like when EA comes on and they like talk about the new games, I'm interested to see what they're adding to them. I might not buy them every year, because sometimes they're really like kind of like roster updates in a sense, but if it's like interesting in a sense, I'll tune in a lot. Like I like seeing the FIFA stuff, because FIFA is always innovative. They brought back FIFA Street, if you guys know what that is. Like it's kind of like it's not like based in the actual arena. It's like kind of like on the streets, and it's like it's no rules type of thing. It's really cool. It's interesting. So when they brought that back as a Volta a couple of years ago, that was a really big announcement, and it was really cool to see. Especially because FIFA Street was such a big thing back like 10 years ago, and they had a couple copies of that. So yeah, I was pretty pumped about that. So yeah, I'll tune in about that stuff normally, like really heavily. I guess Ubisoft too. I used to be a really big Assassin's Creed fan, and Far Cry is probably my favorite series as a whole. So I'm very pumped for Far Cry 6 this year. So I'm excited about that. So those are normally my go-tos when I watch E3.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely there with you for Far Cry 6. I watched the stream on was it Friday? Yesterday.
Yeah.
Game looks pretty good actually.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, similarly to you, Cole. I mean, I'm an Xbox guy. I blue green. So, evenly divided on this pod for a change.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. It is funny. I don't know how the layout is for everyone, but myself and Luke are on the bottom, and Keiran and Colin are on the top.
Same
so
thing
it's
for
like
me too. Yeah.
Sony on the bottom, Sony on the bottom, Xbox on the top. All right.
Yeah. But no, yeah, the Xbox media briefings are always like my number one thing. Like that's the thing I try and make sure that I can watch. I mean, if anyone other than Xbox, probably Ubisoft actually. I mean like Colin, Assassin's Creed, Far Cry. I was saying this on an episode that me and Tyler recorded yesterday that like I have played every Far Cry game since 3 and I have finished no Far Cry games since 3 because like they don't like I enjoy Far Cry but like it never really keeps my attention for like the entire length of the game. But I'm hoping Far Cry 6 will be a little bit different because it looks a little bit different from what you can usually do in Far Cry, especially with like the like makeshift weapons that you can make.
I gotta say though, I could understand like New Dawn and like Primal for sure, like not finishing, but I thought 4 and 5 were pretty well done. Primal was probably one of the worst games I ever played, and I liked it. I played through it, but I definitely agree with you. I definitely was like, this sucks, like playing it.
Yeah, I honestly didn't like Far Cry 4 that much. I didn't play a huge amount of Far Cry 5 actually, but
5 was 5 was.
I'd recommend playing 5 again. I'd recommend going back because that game was sick. That game was good.
Yeah, no, yeah. I fully intend to before 6 comes out, even though they're not related. I do want to play through that game because I've heard very good things about it. Next up is how important do we think E3 is for the industry? Colin, I'm going to throw at you first.
Yeah, I think honestly, looking at E3 as a whole, I think it's crucial in a sense. There is going to be people obviously that aren't really diehard video game players, so they might not care as much about playing or watching the actual event. But like I said, like in the past when I used to go and watch like clips of it after on YouTube, like highlights of the event, gameplay trailers that they show for the action at E3, I think most casual guys will watch that, or girls, like just gamers in general will watch that stuff on YouTube. So I think E3 in a whole is super important. And I think the lack of knowledge of the event until you kind of like notice it, I think it's insane to look at the history and be like, oh, it was something that happened in the 90s even. Like Luke and I did an episode on Conker's Bad Fur Day, and they announced it at E3 98, and I was like, I had no idea that was even a thing in 98. So like I think E3 in general is just so big because it just shows it showcases every company's like games, and like obviously showcase what they're working on. And I think that really fires up a lot of the diehard fans, and especially the casual fans that see like, oh, this game's coming out next year, like I can't wait for that game to come out and all this stuff. So I think it's crucial. Like you need this event. It's just like anything, anything. Like if you compare it to sports, like there's like when they do like a sports draft, like everyone's fired up to watch that. To see all the new talent coming in. Same thing. It's basically new talent, new product, and things that people are excited about. So I think you need it. It's just something you need to have.
Yeah, no, 100% agree. I'll throw it Tyler next.
Yeah, I definitely share many of the same sentiments as Colin there. Like it's crucially important. And seeing in the past couple years, you've had a lot of people ask the question of, is E3 relevant? E3, like maybe it should go away. Do we need E3 anymore? And I understand both sides of the argument, but I feel like I fall more on the side of E3, aside from like the fact that, you know, the business deals, a lot of business deals do happen at E3 and stuff. Aside from like the insider part of it, as a fan, I like don't want E3 to go away because I feel like it's super important. It's been like such a touchstone in my life, you know, granted, since I've been watching it since 2005, so it'll be 16 years of watching E3 at this point. You know, like it's one of those things that's near and dear to me, having the whole industry come together as one for an entire week. And, you know, all these big companies, each of the main big publishers has all eyes on them for like, whether it be an hour and a half, so on and so forth. And then just after all the press conferences are done, throughout the rest of the week, everyone's just showcasing all their big new games that are coming in the next year and a half and all. It's a great time. It's, you know, as people say, video game Christmas in a sense. And, you know, I don't want E3 to go away. I will be very sad when that eventually happens, if it ever does.
Yeah, I mean, I'll chime in. Yeah, I mean, I agree with basically everything you guys have said. Like, it's important for the industry, not just because, I mean, like Tyler kind of mentioned, and I don't know if anyone else listens to Play, Watch, Listen with Alana Pierce and a few of her like video game friends, but one of them, Mike Bithell, who is a game developer, has said many times, like I can't remember if he said specifically a majority of games, but I know he said a lot of games get funded at E3 with like behind closed doors, like really early prototypes. So, I mean, just from a business standpoint, E3 is extremely important, but overall for like somebody like me or Tyler who are, you know, making this kind of content, or you guys, or just fans of gaming, it's super important to just have one kind of cohesive event in the middle of the year where everyone shows off, you know, their biggest projects that they have some of their biggest projects they have in the works, so that everyone can get excited. And because it is this like one cohesive event, more people are going to be watching it than like if you drop a trailer on a random day. Like, it's very important for the industry, in my opinion. Luke, I'll throw it to you.
I have mine's a little mixed, so I'm going to go against what a lot of you guys, not a lot, but I think it was important to the industry. I think last year's E3, we saw what COVID did, and how it still happened, but virtually. And I think that that's the same. I'm one thing that I really don't like, and I think could cause issues going forward, is we are seeing Sony saying, we're not taking part of E3, we're going to make our own. If we start seeing more of that, you know, like segregation of the brands and everything like that, I think that could honestly ruin E3, because at that point, what are they going to do? They're going to have E3, they're going to have Microsoft, and then they're going to have Sony. So they're going to divide it into, instead of the one like full presentation, it's going to be 3 different experiences, which, again, I don't love Sony for doing that. I think that they should have just stayed at E3, understood the importance of E3. But I think that if we do see Sony and Microsoft step away, especially with Microsoft's acquisition of Bethesda, and I mean, I'm curious to see if any more moves are going to be made in the next year or so in terms of buying some of these AAA gaming developers. You know, they could cause E3 to become less significant. So I think what we should see is Sony coming back to E3 to make it a holistic sort of one event for everything.
Yeah, real quick, but I just want to jump on something you said. I definitely think that, like, we don't have any official confirmation as to why Sony left, but I think one can assume that they weren't a fan of the direction that the ESA was going to take E3 in, which is, you know, kind of why Jeff Keighley left. He removed himself from the equation last year as well, before it got canceled at all. But I think that like E3, it was definitely in a state where, especially last year with it having to be canceled because of COVID, it was in a state where it's like, what's going to happen with E3? Because, you know, everyone started doing their own digital presentations, and some saw great success with those, regardless of how well it actually turned out for them, and the fact that last year summer was a hot mess in terms of all these different events happening all over the place and everything. But I feel like this year, even if companies aren't associated with E3 exactly, but doing stuff around E3. I think that having things around like all in a contained time span, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, having the industry like that, it's a nice sign of unity. But in regards to E3 specifically, having so many people come back to E3 this year as like, yeah, we'll still do our own thing as well, but we're having something there as a sign of support, as a sign of like, yeah, we want to help you out, I think is kind of what E3 needed, at least for right now, to help it stay afloat. Because I feel like if a lot of them weren't there showing support at all this year, it'd be a really different conversation about, hey, where is E3 next year?
110%.
I think this year we could say E3 is back next year. I think this year we could say E3 is back next year for sure. And then we have talks next year again, depending on how it works out of what happens.
You know what? I completely agree with you. And like I said, I'm just speculating in the future, like if just with Sony's saying that. So I mean, again, we have almost everybody coming back except pretty much Sony saying we're going to do our own thing. But as long as, like you said, they keep it in the same sort of span of time, I think I think that works out.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I do miss watching Sony's like conference at E3 because there was always this massive debate of like who won E3, who had the best presentation, which like I have to say I don't miss. Because if anyone knows me, I absolutely detest console wars. I think they are for utter morons, but this is like besides the point. But yeah, be interesting to see if Sony do have their event at some point around E3 this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
They, some people still haven't announced dates, so I imagine it'll probably be the same week. Just like last year, it was the same week that, Summer Game Fest stuff was going on and everything. We'll see.
Yeah, and our final question here is our favorite E3 memory. I'll kick this one off. I have two. Obviously, Keanu Reeves walking out on stage at the Microsoft stage in 2019 for the best game of last year, Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh man!
But no, just like
he says that sarcastically. I don't believe he actually believes that.
Really, should probably make that clear. Being sarcastic. I think I like the Keanu Reeves moment. Not so much the like Keanu Reeves walked out on stage, but just like the audience reaction to him walking out on stage was just like every single person was like standing up, like freaking out. It was very fun to watch. The other one that I have isn't really so much a memory as like something that happens every single year where the person on stage who is talking will like deliver this line and pause for an applause and no one will clap. And then like a few seconds will go by and everyone's like, oh, we want us to clap then. And they'll start clapping as the person starts talking. So the person has to be like, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's great. It's just, it's so fun to watch those like awkward moments on stage. Luke, I'll throw it to you.
Yeah, no, I can't believe how much you took those words out of my mouth because I have it written down here that I was going to talk about Keanu Reeves and his E3 experience because I think for me at least, that was one of the most memorable things. You don't really ever see these A-list celebrities coming into E3 and saying, hey guys, I'm in a game, come check me out, right? And yeah, as you said, the crowd went wild. I went nuts because who doesn't love Keanu Reeves? Everybody thinks he's the best. You see all these memes online about him being just like, just being the best dude ever, being the nicest guy in the world. So I'm like, well, this guy's getting behind a game. I'm in. This is by the creator of The Witcher. I'm 110% in. Short little story. Colin and I bought this game day of, and we both tried to play it, and we're obviously disappointed. But I mean, regardless of the disappointment in the actual game itself, I think Keanu came through as being just his voice acting still great, like his character great, but just that is my absolute favorite E3 memory, even though it ended up being a failure. Just the fact that he came in there, blew so many minds, and just got behind a game like that was great.
Yeah, 100%. Colin.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you nailed the head on. You hit the nail on the coffin when you said the awkwardness. I noticed. Well, I don't know if you guys ever watched Bethesda's, but always with Todd Howard, it seems so awkward. Like everything he did, I was like, everyone would just be silent every time he went for a joke, and it's like, oh, it just no one like got it. It just went over their heads or whatever. They were so focused in the game. But my favorite moment from E3 probably, I think it was probably like 2012 or 2013. I used to be a really big like Modern Warfare like fan and like Call of Duty in general. That was probably my biggest thing as a kid, was like Call of Duty and like sports games. So I remember when they were announcing, I think, a new Nuketown, and what they did was they did like a paintball Nuketown, and they did like a whole like video on it, and like it was sick. Like if you went to the event live, I feel like that'd be yeah. If you went to the event live, I feel like it'd be like probably the coolest experience, because you can play it. There's also like a zip line over top of it. It was like super. I remember they did a whole video on it. Like they had one of the, I guess, I don't know what you want to call them, but like one of the people that like went around with a mic, like just kind of like a reporter in a sense, but he was going in and like playing it, and like you could see a first person like GoPro on him, and it was super cool. Like just watching him like go around the whole like map. So it was super cool. I remember that was probably my favorite moment from E3, just seeing like how they brought that in to like real life situations, and like seeing like all these like people playing that and trying to kill each other. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, not gonna lie, for a second when you said like 2012, 2013, I thought you were going to mention the Don Matrick, we have a console for people who don't have internet. It's called an Xbox 360.
Oh yeah.
He's never gonna be able to live that down. He's never gonna be able to live that one down.
No, Tyler, I'll throw you.
Okay, well, I said my favorite already, so I'll say a second one. My all-time favorite was the Kingdom Hearts 3 reveal. That just sentimental, means the world to me. I don't actually. I wouldn't say this is a second favorite, but like it's got to be up there in the favorites category. I'd say E3 2015. Was it 2015? Yes, 2015. When it did not mean much to me, but the hype behind this sequence of events was. I couldn't deny it, and I was like, "This is awesome." It was when they re-revealed The Last Guardian, and then shortly after that, they announced Final Fantasy VII Remake, and then I think maybe 10 minutes after that, they announced Shenmue 3, and Last Guardian. Everyone knew it was just stuck in development. Shenmue 3, I have no attachment to it, but I know fans have wanted it for the longest time. And 7 Remake, I never played 7 at that time, but I wanted that to come and be a thing. So having all 3 of those in the same show, just like bam, 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 I was just like, what the heck is even happening here? Like, this is insane that we're getting this all in one show. And it's funny how after that happened, I think after Shenmue 3, Adam Boyes, he's on stage. He's like, all right, so he has a little notepad. He's like, all right, so Last Guardian, check. 7 Remake, check. Shenmue 3, check. What else we got to do here? What else we got to do?
Yeah. I've played none of those games.
Hey,
I've only played one.
As you. Put my hand up for that one. 100%.
Last Guardian.
7 Remake. I haven't done Last Guardian yet.
Another one just popped into my head. Does anyone remember? I can't remember what year it was. I think it might be 2017. Sounds about right. When they announced Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, the guy in the stage who got to work with Shigeru Miyamoto started crying because his game finally got revealed, and it was just such a nice moment that he cared so much about working with Miyamoto that he genuinely broke down in tears in the audience when they announced it.
Mm-hmm. I do remember that.
Don't remember it, but that sounds awesome.
It spawned the meme, "Don't cry, Ubisoft, man." Okay, that is the end of our Q&A. We are going to get into our predictions now. So the audio companies we're going to go through, we're going to start with EA. I think one that we collectively agreed was maybe a little bit hard to predict for, since mostly they are makers of sports games. However, they do have a few things in development right now. I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to go around and can individually say one and then just kind of go around the table.
Okay. Yeah. So, in predictions wise, EA definitely is tough because it's just mostly kind of what you're gonna get every year. It's the main three, NHL 22, FIFA 22, Madden 22. But they recently acquired F1. So F1 19 was probably one of the coolest racing games out there in a sense because real F1 racers use it to practice basically. So it's insane. Like I think there's been a couple people actually that are just like random like gamers or people that just like play the game because they like F1 and they ended up getting jobs in the F1 industry because of how good they were as drivers in the game. So it's almost like a real live simulation in a sense, like it's super realistic. So I'm really interested in how EA is going to screw this game up because it wasn't EA originally. It was, and EA is known to like have these like big fumbles and stuff like that. But in a sense, when they make this game, I'm very curious on how bad it's going to be compared to 19. I have some buddies that are really big fans of F1 and they love F1 19, so they're a little nervous about this coming in. But they announced that F1 2021 is going to be EA and it comes out this July. So I'm just more curious. I guess it's not really a prediction because you kind of know what's happening. I'm predicting it's going to be a flop in a sense because it's EA and EA is terrible at making games for the most part. So that's my EA prediction.
Fair. Awesome. Tyler.
Okay, I'm trying to choose which one from these 6 I want to go with. Okay, you know what? I'll go with this one. I think it's an easy one to predict. I'm gonna say that Jedi Fallen Order, the sequel, gets announced this year. And I'm gonna say that it gets a release window of 2022, and it continues Cal's story. But past that, I don't know what more I could say with. I was trying to think about like, what could the story be about specifically? But the way the first one ended, no spoilers, it left things pretty open-ended in terms of where they could go with the next game. So yeah, I think we get a announcement of it. I would like for the announcement to be more than just showing Vince Zampella in the audience and saying, hey, this is the title and it's happening. Hopefully like it's an actual trailer, even if it's just a cinematic trailer, a trailer of some sort. That game would not be this year, 2022 at the earliest. And I think they would ideally shoot for that year since it came out 2019. So 2022 sounds about right.
Yeah, 100%. Luke.
I'm going off script here, and I'm one of the biggest ones. So I'm not trying to plug our podcast again, but Colin and I are going through the full Mass Effect series right now. He's never played it before. I've done it, but the Legendary Edition came through, and 1, 2, and 3, amazing games. Andromeda, not so much. My sort of wild card idea for E3 is they're going to announce a Mass Effect 4. Like, we're talking like, is something going on with Shepard, or even looking at what's going on with some of the major characters that you see throughout the Mass Effect series. I think that would be amazing. And again, wild card choice, absolutely. But I always think if they're releasing a Legendary Edition, does that mean something else is coming down the pipe? So I'm hoping we're going to see something with Mass Effect 4 with some of the key characters that we've seen throughout the main series.
Karen, you wanna give the good news?
Oh,
What good news?
Well, they in December they announced that a new Mass Effect is in the works.
Yeah, the little teaser trailer with Liara. Yeah.
They announced a brand new Mass Effect is in the works in December
come
with the trailer.
on. That's amazing.
Luke and I are gonna be so bad at these predictions. You guys have like these lists, and we're like, yeah, let's just say this. And I was like, yeah, actually, it's already been announced, idiots. And it's like, oh, my bad.
No, but I mean, your prediction could still work because you say, you said you predict that it'll be announced. It's already announced, but you predict that we'll see something.
Absolutely,
for a new Mass Effect.
110%. We'll see something. Like I don't want to do any spoilers because, like I said, Colin hasn't touched Mass Effect yet, so I don't want to talk about how 3 ended for anybody that's played it. But in terms of just who's coming back, like I hope we see some just awesome key characters from the main series coming back. And like you said, she's already in it, so that's big. But just who else is in there? I think that we'll see more about that because I think E3 is the perfect place to do that. And again, Legendary Edition came out for a reason, and I think it's obviously going to be to fuel whatever's coming next.
Yeah, I'm in a similar boat to Colin. I've never played. Well, I played Mass Effect, but I played each game for maybe like an hour back when they came out. But I picked up Legendary Edition. I finished Mass Effect 1 the Sunday after it came out. I'm on Mass Effect 2 just now. So I won't go through anything to do with that. But yeah, I think you might be right. I think they might show something for Mass Effect since we've had a bunch of Mass Effect stuff very recently.
That was one of my predictions too, that we would see something. But I was like, let's see. I'll save that one. But you already got it, so cool.
Yes. No, all I was going to say was Mass Effect 2 because Colin just finished 1 and he's playing 2 as well. Only thing I'm going to say is I think that was the game that got me into like current gen RPGs. One of the best games I've ever played is Mass Effect 2. So just buckle up. You guys are in for a ride. It's incredible.
Okay, my prediction is somewhat similar to Tyler's, but slightly different. I just said a new Respawn IP. I didn't necessarily say Fallen Order 2. Because I think they've said they're working on. I can't remember if they said like their next game or a new IP, or I can't remember the exact phrasing they used, but they've said they're working on something, and I don't know if it's going to be Fallen Order 2. It could very well be because I mean that game, from what I know of it, is quite popular, quite well liked, so could very well be Fallen Order 2. But I don't know. There's something in the back of my head that's just like I think they're gonna announce a new IP from Respawn. I also agree with Tyler. I don't want them to do the cut to the head of Respawn in the audience and be like, oh, here's the logo for our new game, but you're gonna have to wait a while to see anything from it. I don't want them to do that.
That'd be nice if we got a new IP announcement. I think I'm trying to remember if they said they were working on a new IP. They might have said that. But
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I know they said something. I just can't remember if they said it was a new IP or if it was just a new game. I can't remember the specific phrasing. Colin, I'll throw to you for your next EA prediction.
EA prediction. That's see, it's tough. I'm gonna say. Okay, so basically, FIFA 20, like since FIFA 17, they've had this storyline basically with this character named Alex Hunter, and throughout 17, 18, 19, he was the main protagonist, and then when 20 came out, they flipped it to this when it became like Volta, and they made the story about Volta the last 2 years. The way they ended this past story was kind of like meh. It wasn't really a story in a sense. 20 had a story. 21 wasn't really a story. Or I mean, yes, 21 wasn't really much of a story. So 22, I'm predicting maybe they reignite Alex Hunter in a sense because he had appearances in 21 and 20, but it was like very brief because he's kind of like a mega superstar in the soccer world at this point. So I'm thinking maybe they're kind of doing little hints like they're gonna have like more of a story with him, but they haven't really like implemented it yet. So I'm thinking hopefully maybe they have him come in a way, or at least one of the characters that was in his like world come into play and be the main protagonist for the 2022 story in a sense.
Nice, yeah. I mean, I've never played a FIFA game outside of FIFA 14, which came with my Xbox One. So I don't really have a horse in that race, but I mean, like you say, FIFA like evolves every year into something different. So I'm I'm always curious when they show like one, what they're gonna put in their game for that year, and two, who's gonna be on the cover. Tyler,
100%. I agree.
Okay, let's see. I'm going to say, all right, this also might be just like me wishing for more, because I don't care about this series at all. I've never played this series a day in my life, but I want this for the people who do want it, and also because I actually want something of substance to be brought from this.
Mm-hmm.
So Dragon Age 4, whatever this next Dragon Age game is going to be, they've been talking about this game for years. They announced it with just like, a narration trailer. And then they've said, oh yeah, we'll show you more. And it's like concept dev footage where it's just like, here's an environment. Here's another environment. Then it's like, all right, we'll have something for you, I think, at the Game Awards. And it's another narration trailer. Granted, in engine. Granted, showing environments. But nothing really of substance, I guess, for, it doesn't seem like it's anything of substance. So I'm saying that Dragon Age 4 will be shown off properly. This will be either a gameplay demo or even just a trailer that actually shows gameplay and isn't just more environment shots backed by narration. And it gets a 2022 release window.
Yeah, no, I'm. You took one of mine. I have Dragon Age 4 down as well.
Stole from you.
Luke.
It's funny because just took that right off my plate. I was ready to go Dragon Age when my turn came up, just ready to get in it. I'm excited because I'm a big Dragon Age fan. So it's not Mass Effect level, but still great game. So I think that'll be really exciting. One of the ones that I wrote down that I'm not super excited for is rumor has it they're going to do something to do with a new Battlefield. So we should be seeing a Battlefield 6 coming out. I know that this is people are saying it's basically all but announced. So I think we're probably going to see some information on what Battlefield 6 is going to look like. Again, not a massive fan of the series by any means, but I think that it's probably something that we'll see at E3, at least in terms of what they're looking at for the next stage of what I think is a pretty well-known franchise.
Yeah, they've confirmed that Battlefield 6 reveal is coming in June, which there have been rumors this week that it's going to be on the Xbox stage, which I think is the most likely place for it to appear since EA themselves are not going to be at E3. The last main prediction I have for EA is, I don't know if this is a wild card or not, but I'm going to throw it anyway. They might announce Star Wars Battlefront 3. I don't know if that's something that they would be working on, since DICE is currently working on Battlefield 6. But I'm sure that studio is big enough to have two teams. So you never know, they could see Battlefront 3 coming at some point, and I think if they do, it will be next gen only.
So I wanna push back on that a bit. I like where your head is at. I think a Battlefront 3 will come at some point. I do not think it gets announced now. Reason being, it would be crazy if it did, but the reason being that, like you said, Battlefield 6 is supposed to come out this year, and it's basically all hands on deck for that game. I don't think that EA or DICE is willingly going to sacrifice the manpower to have people start working on a Battlefront 3 just yet. I don't think so. But if it happened, that'd be crazy. It'd be crazy if they announced that this year, with all that in mind.
Yeah, I haven't played a huge amount of Battlefront. Well, I haven't played a huge amount of the new Battlefront 2. I have played a colossal amount of the original Battlefront 2. So don't know if I'd be necessarily excited for if they announce it, but I'd probably try it. Okay, does anyone have any final main EA predictions before we move on?
Yeah, I got one more.
Oh,
you go. It's all you. Go for it.
No, go ahead. I have a few to choose from. Go ahead.
Yeah. So again, in the sporting world, NHL, for example, they've been hinting at bringing back GM Connected in a sense. So GM Connected was a game mode where like, you could play as a NHL GM and like kind of run the team. And what they did was back in the original Xbox 360. So this is how I'm telling you how EA is just so bad with like their EA Sport like rollout. So on the 360 and NHL 14, they had this mode called GM Connected where you and your pals or your buddies or whatever could join a league and run individual teams and play against each other. And it was like, and also like run the team and like make trades, all that stuff. So they had this mode where you could do it with a multiplayer aspect to it. And when 2015 came around and Xbox One happened, they scrapped basically everything and made it like this, restarted the whole series. So now we're going into NHL 22 and it's still not in, but they've hinted at it for like the last like 2 years. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, they add this mode finally so they can do that again. Because it was people, like a ridiculous amount of people ask for this every like single year. And they always say, yeah, we'll think about it. And they never end up like following through with it. So hopefully this is the year they finally do. Again, like I said, they've hinted at it a few years in a row. Like, oh, we might, maybe, who knows, like type of thing. And it's like, okay, but are you actually going to? Like, that's like, voice of reason. Like, come on, like, please. And it's like, so hopefully I'm predicting that maybe they finally drop it as soon as the new Xbox came out. Just so it's just like, oh, 1 year trial and then it goes away again. They scrap it again. But that's what I'm thinking anyways, in a sense. They bring it back.
Interesting.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, I'll just throw off this last one because we kind of already touched on two of them already. Another one I have here, I don't think it'll happen. This one I think has a chance of happening. And this is for everyone else in the room, not me because I haven't played the game yet. I'm going to say that Mass Effect 3 multiplayer is confirmed to come back for the Legendary Edition, and it's going to have crossplay.
Interesting.
Very
Cool.
It's not there now. And I know that they said that they would like to try and bring it back. If I'm right, they said they want to try and bring it back.
Yeah.
And like an E3 or EA Play announcement that, yeah, it's in the works and it's going to be coming, whether it be this year or next year, and there will be crossplay, that would just be like the icing on the cake for the Legendary Edition.
Yeah, 100%. Luke, do you have any final E3 predictions? EA predictions?
Honestly, guys, you guys have just been eating up the few that I had for this one. EA is tough. EA is tough. Nothing else for me.
Okay, I have one last one, which is like an extreme Hail Mary, which like I could see happening, but I really don't think will. And I don't know whether. No, I'm gonna say it now, but I could easily save it for my Xbox round. But Battlefield 6 comes to Game Pass day one. I think that I can see it happening. I think it would make sense for it to, because EA and Microsoft have a very good partnership for Game Pass already. But I don't know if EA would want to put that level of game into Game Pass on day one. Although I mean, to be fair, I suppose it just depends how much money Microsoft puts forward for it.
Now, I had that on my list, just not in the EA category. I had it in the Xbox category.
Yeah,
but I don't think I would have said it because of all the other things I have here, and I also figured someone else would say it too.
Yeah. Okay, that is going to round out our EA predictions. Move on to Ubisoft. Who have been confirmed to have an E3 show on June 12th. Can't remember exactly what time.
3 p.m. Eastern time.
There you go. Luke, I'll throw it to you first.
Yeah, so one of the ones that I know that we've talked about substantially, but I think will be heavily featured during E3 is going to be Far Cry 6. So I know that they've obviously released the trailers. I know they've released a ton of stuff involving this game. And I know it's not going to be, I think that this is a really safe bet, but I think that one of the biggest features we're going to see is we're going to see a lot of gameplay trailers. We're going to see a lot of what this game's about while they try to fire it up for their end of year release, which I'm super excited about. Like, again, really, really excited about it. But I think that that'll be a big focus from Ubisoft in this year.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Tyler.
Yeah, I wonder how much. Well, I wonder real quick how much of it they'll show. I imagine if they show it, I would like them to do like a gameplay demo.
Totally.
Since we got the stream, we got the stream yesterday as of recording, where they gave like a story trailer and then a trailer that kind of showed off, I guess, the different combat things you can do, like different weapons and all like that. Show off different aspects of the gameplay. So I imagine if we see it at E3, maybe like a demo, like a nice gameplay demo, showing off like a full mission. And seeing it actual moment to moment gameplay.
Yeah, 100%. Because it's been a lot of theatrical releases and everything. So that's what I was thinking too. Is I think that we'll see something that's going to be like set in actual gameplay, like a mission or like you said.
Okay, so for me, I got a couple here. I got a couple good ones, I think. All right, I'm going to start off with one that this is not going to happen, and I'm predicting it's not going to happen.
I think
I would love it to. I would love it to, and I kind of hope that I did steal this from you. I hope I did. But Beyond Good and Evil 2 is not going to be here. It will not be at Ubisoft show for the third year in a row, and it is not getting mentioned at all. It hasn't been there in a bit. Huh?
Did not steal that from me.
Okay. That sucks. But it hasn't been there for a bit. And the reason I think it's not going to be here now is because it was some of their like financial reporting that came out earlier this year or sometime in the past few months. Beyond Good and Evil 2 was not mentioned at all. Like other games that haven't been seen in a bit were mentioned as like, all right, it'll be in this time frame window. Beyond Good and Evil 2 was not mentioned. So because of that, I think that game is, not on ice, but it's stuck in development again. And we're not going to see it for at least another year.
Yeah, I kind of have to agree with you on that. I don't have anything down for Beyond Good and Evil 2, unfortunately, because like from what we've seen of that game so far, it looks really interesting and really, quite frankly, like really good. But I don't think we see anything from that.
An easy prediction for Ubisoft is they're probably going to announce a new Assassin's Creed. And I say this because there's only been one year they haven't like actually produced a new Assassin's Creed, and that was 2019, a 2-year gap. And it was because I believe the only reason they had the 1 year off was because they were doing the whole movie thing, and they were kind of like busy with like working on the movie that they came out with. So they kind of took that hiatus in that weird scenario. So they took that 2-year gap between Odyssey and Valhalla. So I think this year they'll continue from Valhalla with a new storyline. They also kind of ended Valhalla with the whole Desmond Miles storyline coming back into play, which originally I think ended after the third game, which was super weird how they kind of just like dropped that whole ending and kind of just like went off their own path after like Black Flag started with a new like kind of story in a sense. So I'm excited to see where they kind of go with that. So I'm predicting they kind of like go into that story in a sense, bringing back the whole Desmond Miles thing and how that his dad and everyone else kind of plays into that. So I'm excited for that, and hopefully they kind of touch on that a bit.
I haven't played Valhalla yet, but you just kind of made me want to start playing it right now.
It's great. I put 110 hours into it, I think, Colin, right? Is that what we ended up saying?
Yeah.
Really fun game. Great. Yeah.
Yes. See, I haven't started it yet because Odyssey it's objectively a good game, but dear gosh, it was a slog for me to get through. Like I was just not interested in like the story. The gameplay was just like, it was fine. It was a slog, and it was way too long and way too big. At a certain point, I was like, can this be over and done with? So like I finished that in December, and I was like, I need a break from Assassin's Creed before I jump into Valhalla. but which might be just as big, if not bigger.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm similar to you guys. I think I put in maybe like 95, 100 hours, something like that. In Valhalla, it's Valhalla, super good game. Would highly recommend that people play it. Okay, I'm opening with my like absolute wild card, like things like, because. This is the thing that I thought Tyler was gonna have stolen from me by the way he was speaking, but
I wonder if it's my other one on here.
Like, it's not gonna happen. Like, I'm pretty sure Ubisoft have made it very clear that, and when I say this, I'm pretty sure at least maybe one or two you'll get it. They've made it clear that they are gonna put this character in every single game apart from his own franchise. So I'm predicting that they announce a new Splinter Cell game at E3.
Oh.
So, because like there has been so many rumors that one is in development at Ubisoft, and they just haven't shown anything for it so far. So it's either, in my opinion, it's either if they don't show it now, it's not happening. But they have put Sam Fisher in basically every single one of their franchises except Splinter Cell for like, I don't even know when the last Splinter Cell game came out, but like he's in that Rainbow Six mobile game. You can get a skin for him in, I think you can get one for him in Immortals Phoenix Rising. I can't remember. Like he is in so many games that aren't his own game. It's a little bit ridiculous.
You know, I actually have the opposite prediction here, saying that they're not going to be a new Splinter Cell, but he'll appear some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I say, I don't expect it to happen, but just I think I've like predicted this for the last like year or two, where I've just like thrown out there and been like, yeah, if it happens, it happens, but I don't think it will. Luke, I'll throw it back to you.
Yeah, I have a big one again, I don't think there's been any mention of this, but I'm such a fan of playing these games that I'm just hoping as a hardcore gamer that we see this is a third South Park game. The first two South Park games on Ubisoft were absolutely incredible. So much fun going around. And I think they were so well done. I know that obviously the Stick of Truth and the Fractured Butthole was like so delayed because there were so many issues with it and everything like that. I think that they did really, really well as games. And I think having sort of like an RPG as the new kid on the block within South Park and these turn-based RPG fighting was awesome. So I would love more than anything for us to see a third South Park game announced to come in 2022 or even 2023, but something about it.
Yeah, I forgot those games existed actually, so it'll be very interesting to see if they announce a new one.
Though. They were so much fun.
Tyler.
Yeah, I forgot about them. Had I remembered those, I might have actually thrown that on here. Yes. I forgot that Ubisoft made those games. I forgot they existed. Wow. Oh man,
dude, Luke, you stole my last one. I was gonna talk on that. I was totally gonna ready to like drop that. You know, you took it. I was gonna say also to mention off your point. I'll just add this. I guess is they took a year off. They didn't have a season this year of South Park. They had a couple specials for like an hour. So there's a good chance they were working on that with Ubisoft again. So yeah, I was gonna mention that and everything. I had this whole thing going. So yeah, you stole it from me.
Yeah, like wow. Yeah, well, exactly. Like once you mentioned it, I'm sitting here. I'm like, oh my gosh, I know they've only done 2 episodes, but that was because of COVID. Mm-hmm. But maybe they also could have been using that time to do this too. The stars could possibly align on that.
I love the deep threat. Awesome.
Okay. Well, speaking of games that would love to see a sequel for, again, I did not play the first one for this, but I think it'd be really cool if we got a sequel to Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. And I think the sequel will be announced this year.
That'd be cool.
And the game will also come out later this year.
Interesting.
because the first game, like you said, was announced 2017, came out 2017, and I mean I didn't play it, but critics liked the game. It was well received. It got a DLC expansion of sorts that added not Donkey Kong, but like it added some other characters to it and everything. I think that Ubisoft and Nintendo, they have a nice relationship. They had a Starlink, which had the whole like Star Fox character specifically for the Switch version. So I think that they might say, you know what, let's get another Mario and Rabbids sequel coming out. It was, I think now would be the time to announce it.
Fair.
Yeah. Colin.
Yeah. Like I said, I think Luke kind of stole what I was gonna go off of here, so I'm kind of like scrambling. I would be interested to see if they mention anything about maybe a new. This one's super random. I was off the top of my head. Maybe talk a bit, maybe about potentially a new Watch Dogs in a sense. I know. Like recently they came out in the news talking about how they originally wanted to make it like a race car game. But they scratched it and decided it was going to be their version of GTA. So I'm curious to see if maybe they, with that like leaking, I wonder if maybe in a sense they might come out and announce a new Watch Dog. I don't think in any realm of possibility it would come out this year. It'd probably be down the line, but I think maybe a release trailer would be pretty cool just to like kind of mention it. Like, hey, remember us? Like we're kind of a thing. Like we said, like last week, for example, when we announced it was going to be a driving game at first. So that'd be pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I still haven't finished Legion, so I need to go back and play that. But yeah, I mean, I'm always game for new Watch Dogs games. Like they're despite everyone not agreeing with me, I really enjoy them.
I mean, I agree with you. Watch Dogs Legion is a good game that is, let me rephrase that. It is a good game that, because of its unique, innovative systems, is really like kind of just okay at best, actually. Like the best thing about the game actually brings the whole game down, in a sense. It's really tough to explain.
Mm-hmm.
Still fun though.
Okay, my next one is like is something that like 99% of people are not going to care about. I don't know, did any of you play Grow Up or Grow Home?
I played like 5 minutes of Grow Home because it was a PS Plus game, so I had like 5-10 minutes of it, and I was like, I don't want to play this anymore, and didn't play any more of it.
It's so good though. Like you play as just like little red. It's a climbing game basically. You play as just like little red robot who like crashes from his ship, and you have to like you land on this alien planet that has like a massive beanstalk kind of thing. You have to like climb up it to get back to your ship. I think the original was made by a team of like, I think it was like 5 or 6 people at Ubisoft, just as like a little like side project thing, which then they released as an indie, well not an indie game, but like a smaller release from Ubisoft. Because it did so well, it got a sequel. I really, really, really want a new like Grow Up, Grow Home game because I love those games so much.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the ones that I know has already been confirmed again, but I think that we're going to see more of is Prince of Persia. The remake is going to be incredible. So I actually remember, I think it was on, man, was that a GameCube game I played? I remember playing Sands of Time, Prince of Persia, like back in the day. So for me, when I first saw that launch trailer last year, it was just pure nostalgia. I don't care if it's the exact same game. They're just up-resing it to being into, current gen consoles or whatever. But playing that game, like I said, on my old GameCube, it like fired me up to the point where I'm so excited to get back into that. And I hope that they showcase more of it. And I think it'll speak for itself. I know that, again, it's an old game, and I know that there's probably a lot of people who've never played it before. But I think that, it'll speak for itself, and I think it'll be pretty successful. So I think they'll spend some time talking about that, and I hope that they do just for my sake.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I remember playing that. Like, I don't know if I would have been allowed to play this game, like in this setting that I did, but I played it in my like after school daycare kind of thing when I must have been like 6 or 7 at the time. On like it was either a PS2 or a GameCube that they had, but I remember playing Sands of Time on that. So I'm also super in for this remaster. I'm full of nostalgia. I can't wait for it.
Same thing with me. Like yeah, we're in sync on this one. Like I'm so excited just to play it again. I don't care if it's the same game.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I was gonna put that on my list, but I didn't because I knew that like they delayed it indefinitely earlier this year so they could work on it more. So I was like, I don't know if it'll be there. But I would like for it to be that. Like I want it to be that. I want to see more of it because I did like that game too. When I played it when I was younger.
Yeah, Tyler, do you have any more Ubisoft predictions?
I got a bunch more, but I'll just give one more here. And this one actually, I'm torn between two that I want to give here. One of them kind of is something that you and I talked about before, Keiran, and it would also kind of jump off of Colin's prediction. But the other one here is it's a left field one. Both of them are left field ones. All right, I'll go with the one I think is more likely. So I think an Assassin's Creed announcement will come this year. I don't think it's a brand new game like Colin was kind of, I guess, predicting, like it'll be a brand new full on 60, 70 hour game. I don't think it'll be that. Keiran, you might get where I'm going with this. I think it's going to be an Assassin's Creed free-to-play multiplayer game, gets announced this year. And I think it's going to bring back the multiplayer. That's where it diverges from what you and I before talked about, Keiran. Because in the past, Keiran and I, in a previous episode, actually the last full episode of the show, we talked about Assassin's Creed inevitably getting a Battle Royale. I don't know if this will necessarily be a Battle Royale game, but I think it'll be a free-to-play multiplayer game, and it's going to be the multiplayer style from like the older Assassin's Creed games where you had to be stealthy and like sneak and blend in with the crowds and everything like that. I think it'll be that type of multiplayer, but just brought into the modern day. So with some modern day sensibilities and all. So yeah, I think that is what we might get from them.
Yeah, I'm still holding out hope for that. The idea I had was an Assassin's Creed Battle Royale, but you just have like a hidden blade, smoke bottle, like old Assassin's Creed mechanics, not like a Valhalla Odyssey. I think like Assassin's Creed 2 and 3 style Battle Royale would be a lot of fun.
See, I think that'd be cool in a sense, but I feel like every time Ubisoft has ever like released like kind of like an online like multiplayer to like a story based game, I feel like they kind of flop. I don't know. I've never really enjoyed playing like those yeah, like what you said, like how you'd go and do like the stealth and hide in like crowds of people and then pop out and kill each other. I feel like that was like super. I think it was fun for a couple like runs here and there, but I feel like it'd be tough to base that like a full battle royale style game. Though it'd be interesting to see, but I feel like it'd be like I said, like I feel like a lot of the diehard Assassin's Creed fans, I feel like probably wouldn't go for it in a sense. But if it's free to play, I mean, I think anyone would kind of be open to just trying it and at least like going in that direction. So that'd be interesting. That's a really interesting prediction because I wasn't expecting you to say that. So, but I just feel like it'd be super. I don't know. I feel like it'd be super hard to like justify them working on that game, knowing how their multiplayers have kind of worked out in the past. Like even Far Cry had multiplayer, and I'm like, why is this here? Like, this is probably like one of the worst like aspects to a game. I feel like when they add stuff like that, I feel like when they add stuff like that to those type of games, it's like, why did you add this? Like BioShock had a multiplayer too, and I was like, why is this here? Like, it feels so weird to play this, you know?
Yeah, and like when the original multiplayer was added to like Assassin's Creed with Brotherhood and then Revelations, I don't think it was there with Black Flag. But when it was there in those games, like it was really weird and out of left field. And I only ever played a couple matches of it because I wasn't that good at it, to be honest. But it was unique and different from everything else. And like I know it had like its own hardcore crowd that really like clung to it and was like, yeah, this is actually really great. It's really fun. And like Karen and I both imagine that Ubisoft is going to want to do some type of free-to-play thing with Assassin's Creed in some way, shape, or form in the future. Because like that's their biggest franchise. So like I think it's very hard to like wrap your head around what that would be in the modern day, given that multiplayer for the franchise hasn't been around in a very long time. But I think maybe bringing that old style back and adding some more modern day twist to it to make it, fun for the current day in a free to play space would be great. Because I mean, regardless of how many legs the game has in terms of like length, how long it runs for, it's guaranteed to make Ubisoft a bunch of money at the very start because people will want to jump in on it and then, microtransaction the mess out of it.
Yeah, definitely. Colin, do you have any more Ubisoft predictions?
No, I think I'm okay to move on if you are.
Okay. I've one last one, which I feel like is a fairly safe bet. I think we'll get Rainbow Six Quarantine gameplay. I mean, the game was announced ages ago. I know it's been delayed a couple of times, but I feel like that game has to be maybe not like super close to release, but at least in a state where they could show it.
Yeah. I had that here on my list, coming with a new name, of course, because they already said it's going to get a new name, given the fact that, quarantine, a year of COVID. You don't want to associate those two things at all.
No.
But yeah, I wonder what it will be. I don't think if they announce it, they will say it's coming next year. I don't think it's a this year game.
No. Okay, moving on from Ubisoft, we move on to Square Enix, who are also confirmed to have a show at E3 this year, although I don't know if they've necessarily announced a day and a time yet.
They have not.
No. Tyler, I'll throw it to you first.
Okay. Ooh, how do I want to start this off? Okay, I'm going to start off with one that it's my lengthiest one here, because there's like little details I have on it. So 7 Remake Part 2 is going to get teased. We're going to get something related to it. This tease will mainly focus on the open world aspect of the game, because for those who don't know, and in the original Final Fantasy VII, after you leave Midgar, the game opens up, and then like you have the whole world map, and you're traveling through the whole world and everything. So this tease is going to mainly focus on the open world. We'll see shots of the crew, exploring in the open world. We'll see this iconic shot of like from the original game. There's a part where you guys are traveling and you come across like this massive snake that's been impaled. So like we'll see that quick shot in the trailer. For those who know what it means, they'll be like, "Oh, that's happening." For those who don't know, they'll be like, "What the heck does that mean?" And then we'll get teases of a couple locations. I have Junon, Cosmo Canyon, the Chocobo Farm, and we'll get a brief snippet tease of the Nibelheim incident, which is, I'm not spoiling it, but it's a very iconic moment in the game. It's the part where, like, if you see anything Final Fantasy VII related in the past at all, it's always that part where you see Sephiroth, like, with flames behind him, and he turns around and walks back through the flames. That scene is from the Nibelheim incident. So we'll get, like, a tease of that. We'll see, we'll get a bit of Yuffie like meeting the rest of the main crew from 7 Remake. And this whatever they show for it will also continue teasing the ways in which 7 Remake is just doing different stuff from the original game. No release window, but it will also still be a PlayStation Time exclusive.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a long one, I know, but many little details in there that I feel like drive the whole thing home.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty safe bet. It's gonna be a PlayStation Time exclusive. I'm still waiting for 7 Remake to come to Xbox.
Maybe after Intergrade has its time exclusivity ends. Perhaps.
Hopefully. Okay, I'll go next. I feel like these are kind of maybe safe bets, but I feel like they're gonna be shown anyway. It's kind of a 2-for-1 as well. I have Outriders DLC plus Avengers DLC, but specifically Black Panther and Spider-Man. I think those are maybe not necessarily the specific characters for Avengers, but I feel like those two are fairly safe bets for what we might see from Square Enix.
Okay. I actually had the Avengers here on my list. I had that, we'll get a good look at Black Panther's expansion because it's supposed to come this year.
Yeah.
I put October. I put a solid month October. I said Spider-Man's gonna get revealed, and he'll be coming in the winter, either this year or early next year. And then I have a list of other characters that will tease to come, but I'm not gonna list them off right now.
Yeah. One thing I will say about the Outriders DLC is I feel like this game needs DLC ASAP to try and improve it, because like I talked about this a bit on our show, but like I don't hate the game. It's not terrible. It's just not great. So I feel like if they add DLC to this game, it might improve it. But put it this way, unless the DLC is also coming to Game Pass, I am not paying for it.
Yeah, Colin and I did an entire episode on Outriders.
We hated it.
It did not go well. As a PlayStation player, I paid full price to get into Outriders, and like that was probably the biggest waste of $80 I've probably ever invested in the game. So we were pretty cruel on it. I think that they could, like you said, I think they could salvage the game, but I think it would take specific types of DLC to do that.
Yeah, like I say, I don't hate the core game. I'm just very glad I didn't have to pay for it.
Don't rub it in.
Luke, I'll throw it to you next.
Yeah, this one again is sort of a wishful thinking ask in terms of Square Enix, but Colin and I recently just did an episode on the Tomb Raider trilogy that they released several years ago. I would either love to see a fourth one from that, or I mean, one thing that we've seen about Tomb Raider is they love just restarting the trilogy a couple of years later and doing a whole different amount of games based off of something else. Yep. I would take either one. So just something to do with some sort of new Tomb Raider game would really excite me. So I would love to see something to do with that. And again, either a fourth one or just a completely new trilogy version of it.
Yeah, I don't know what it was about the last trilogy. I just couldn't get into it. I played a bit of the first one and a tiny bit of the second, and was just like, no, this is not for me.
Feels very similar. If you've ever played Uncharted, I feel like it's almost like a carbon copy. They're almost carbon copies of one another in terms of like the climbing and jumping around and everything like that. Like you definitely see similarities between the two. So yeah.
I started the second one. I played for maybe an hour. I got to the first campfire in like the winter in the snowy mountains. And I stopped there, meant to continue playing it, and I have not gone back. It's still on my hard drive though. I intend to play it.
It's good.
I intend to finish it because it's a short game.
Mm-hmm. And if you like I said, if you like Uncharted, I think you'll like this one too.
Yeah, I liked the first one. It's just I just got to get around to actually finishing this one and then doing the third one.
Yeah. Tyler.
Okay. So I'm going to I'll throw out another Final Fantasy one here, not 7. I'm going to say that the 13 trilogy is finally going to get the remaster treatment. It will be coming either in September or early next year, between January to March. I don't understand how this trilogy hasn't gotten like a remastered version yet. 10 and 10-2 got remasters. 12 got remasters. 7, 8, and 9 have all gotten remasters. But 13, for some reason, has just been given it's just been ignored. And it hasn't gotten, the HD remaster treatment that all those other ones have gotten. Now, I say this because I'm selfish and I want to play those games that I never did. And if I want to play them, I'd have to plug in my PS3, get new PS3 controllers, that's doing a whole lot. Just remaster them, 4K it up, 60 FPS if you so choose, whatever you want to do, or bring the whole trilogy up to the modern day. And I think they would do that. I think they would.
Yeah, I mean, Square Enix love to do stuff with Final Fantasy, so I maybe.
And it's like, I know 13 isn't that liked in the Final Fantasy community. A lot of people don't like 13. Like, between that and 15, like, I feel like those two compete for, like, being the most hated. But 13, I want to play those games. Bring it to modern consoles, HD it up, remaster it up. Let me play them on my console now.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see what they announce for Final Fantasy, because we talked about this, I think, a little bit yesterday. They might have some interesting things to do with Final Fantasy in the works. My next one is kind of another wild card one, although I mean, they love milking this series, so I mean, Just Cause 5 might happen. Like, I mean, I think it's a case of like when we get this game and not if, because like I say, they really enjoy milking Just Cause. So it'll be interesting to see when Just Cause 5 is where they go from tornadoes.
Yeah, I had that one on my list too. Coming next year, and there being more weather, but just better integrated into the game. No, but I mean, like, being better integrated. Cause did anyone here play Just Cause 4?
No. Not for very long.
Okay, so like the main hook of Just Cause 4 was supposed to be, oh, you have like this insane weather. You got like tornadoes and sandstorms and lightning storms and everything. But the thing was that like it only happened in specific areas. It wasn't like a natural thing that happened in the world. Yeah. So it was really scripted. And once you kind of took control of whatever caused like the sandstorms per se, once you took control of that, you could do it whenever you wanted, but only in that area of the map. So like the weather stuff was real. It was cool, but like underutilized, I think. So if they do have Just Cause 5, which they most likely will, I would like them to bring the weather stuff back, but integrate it more naturally, like, you know, how GTA does like their weather and stuff. Like it just kind of comes and goes as it pleases.
Luke.
Yeah, one of the ones that I had actually seen that had interested me a bit was the game Forspoken that it seems like they're going to be getting involved in. So I know that they've announced it before, obviously, but it looks so cool. So I think that this is, I feel like, again, I've always felt like Square Enix relies very heavily on pre-existing franchises. So they, you know, like either Tomb Raider or Just Cause, or like they love kind of, or Final Fantasy, some sort of remake. So I think that Forspoken could be really, really interesting, where it's like, oh my God, they're actually making a new game and it's an RPG. Like that's something that I could easily get behind. So I think we're going to see a lot more going on in terms of what they're going to do with that game. And I think that hopefully we'll see some more gameplay trailers and stuff like that.
I am so annoyed that game was a PlayStation exclusive. It looks so good, and I really, really, really want to play it, but I'm not going to go and buy a PS5 just to play that game.
Jackpot PlayStation on that one, I guess.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that game too. It looks really cool. Like all the gameplay stuff we've seen, like all the flipping and the fast combat. It looks awesome. I'm waiting to just get my hands on it.
Stop rubbing it in.
Sorry.
Colin, do you have any more Square Enix predictions?
Honestly, I was gonna say, yeah, I'm probably gonna sit this one out the rest of the way because I've never been a big Square Enix fan. Like I never really got into the Final Fantasy like that. I know I probably should because they're on the Game Pass and I probably should try them out. But yeah, I've never been like a super big fan. So this was one company I actually have no real predictions for because I never really like pay attention to them too much. So I mean, all the power to you guys to say as much as you can about them, because I have like nothing about it really, to like no input really on them in a way.
I mean, to be honest, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. Like, I've never really been the biggest Square Enix fan, so I only had the two that I've already said. So if Tyler and Luke, if you guys have any other ones you want to throw out there, by all means.
I got two more that I'll throw out, but Luke, if you want to say yours, if you have any others.
You know what? It's really funny because I had the vaguest line here, and all it literally said was some sort of Final Fantasy remake. Like, that was it. Like, it was just, there was no even prediction on it, but I just assumed that they were going that way this year, judging by what it's looked like. Which, I mean, we've already covered, obviously, but that was kind of my big one. But no, I don't really have anything else.
I think Deus Ex is going to come back from Eidos Montreal. They were the ones who made the first two. Well, the first two of like the new set that were coming out last generation. I think it'll come back. I think it's going to be a cross-gen game. No date, but I think it'll be 2022. I think it'll just like put that year on it just to be safe and call it a day. And the last one I'll go with here, I would be a bad Kingdom Hearts fan if I didn't throw a Kingdom Hearts prediction in here. And I can't do that. So I'm going to predict Kingdom Hearts appears in some capacity. The reason being is next year is the 20th anniversary of the franchise.
Ooh,
so,
okay.
And Tetsuya Nomura, he has already stated that they're going to be doing something for the 20th anniversary. So, like, look forward to it. He hasn't said, that we'll be hearing anything about it this year. So, very good chance we won't hear anything about 20th anniversary stuff until next year. But I think we'll see something to raise excitement for it. And I have a little extra sub prediction for it. That being, maybe it's a look at the next mainline game in the franchise, which I highly doubt. I highly doubt this ever happens. But maybe it's that. And if it is that, it's most likely a CG trailer that focuses on Sora and teases the mystery of whatever is going on next with Yozora. Maybe we see Riku a bit briefly. So is the Master of Masters. And it just says now in development. That's all the trailer says.
Yeah, I mean, solid prediction. I'm kind of with you. I don't think it's going to happen, but
I don't.
You know what? I could see a remake of 1 and 2 for like current gen consoles, right? Which I would be super
Look, what are you doing to me? What are you doing to me? I would love that.
I'm just saying,
a remake of 1 and 2 with the Kingdom Hearts 3 engine. You would make every Kingdom Hearts fan cry tears of joy.
I'd love it too. You'd
be so happy. That'd be the best 20th anniversary present ever. My eyes are watering just out of pure excitement at the prospect of that idea.
Oh God, I shouldn't have said anything. You'll come for me if it's not the case.
I'm not gonna come for you. Maybe not like right away. Maybe like a week goes by. Let the trauma settle in. The process of grief. Go through the stages of grief. And once I'm done and I've accepted it, then I'll come for Luke.
Yeah, I mean, I still have to play Kingdom Hearts. Like, I have no excuse. They're on Game Pass.
No, they're leaving. They're leaving Game Pass. So. But
sucks for me,
you also don't, because the all-in-one package that has every game in the series except for Melody of Memory, if I'm correct, is like stupid cheap. I don't think it's any more than like $40. So.
It's like 26, 27 pounds, something like that.
I don't know if that's a lot of money. I don't know, like conversion-wise, I don't know if that's expensive or cheap or fairly priced.
No, ludicrously expensive. Just millions of pounds worth. Totally. Okay. So now we are going to move on to the big three, that being Nintendo, Xbox, and Sony. We're going to start off with Nintendo. I can't remember who I threw to first last time, so I'm just going to say Colin.
Damn it.
Cool. Hey, I'll take that all day. Love that. Easy for me now. I'm going to say I'm pumped to see gameplay on the new Breath of the Wild. Because the last one, so Luke and I did a podcast on the Ocarina of Time, and he kind of hyped up the first one for me, saying it's kind of like a newer version of the Ocarina of Time in a sense. Not the same, totally not the same, but like kind of like as close as it'll get. So I just bought that on the Switch and I started playing it. I'm probably gonna go into it more in depth after I finish Mass Effect. But I'm super excited to play that game and go through it, and then I'm super pumped to see the gameplay for the second one because I imagine on release, Luke and I will both buy that later this fall. So I'm super pumped to see how they go about that. The biggest thing with Zelda games in general, I find that they're like, I think we watched a video recently. Luke and I found a video and like how they explain the whole timeline and how insane the timeline is, and like how they don't really correlate with anything ever at all. Like none of the games really correlate with each other at all. So in a sense, I'm pretty pumped to see how they kind of transition from 1 to 2 in the Breath of the Wild. So I'm pumped to see the gameplay itself, just to see what they changed in a way, and like the story itself, to see how the story goes about finishing 1. So I'm super excited for that anyways. So that's my, I'm hoping we get some gameplay in that. That's my prediction for that.
Okay, Luke, you seem fairly excited about getting into Nintendo, so I'll throw to you next.
Well, Colin absolutely ripped Breath of the Wild right out from underneath me, which is fine because, like I said, I have a bunch of really cool ones that I'm really excited about for Nintendo. So again, Breath of the Wild, like I cannot wait to see more, because I think that's probably been one of the, I would call it, turning point games that we've seen in the past little while in terms of games that completely redefine gaming, and I think Breath of the Wild did a great job with that.
Question real quick for both you and Colin, because I also had that on here and I had a little sub prediction on it. Do you think that we're gonna get a reveal that Zelda's playable?
Ooh, I didn't even think about that, but you know what? Like I could see it.
I think that we will. I think that will happen
see it too.
if it gets shown. What about you, Colin?
It's tough because I feel like I don't know. I feel like even though the game's called The Legend of Zelda, and like you're like, yeah, it's all, but it's not really about Zelda. It's about Link's stories and trials and errors, about everything he goes through and how much stuff he has to go through constantly. So it's interesting in a sense how you brought that up, because I think that'd be really cool if they made her a playable character.
One that I have that's like kind of a 2-in-1, I guess, is touching on Breath of the Wild 2. I have a Breath of the Wild 2 name reveal is the main like part of that. But then I also have launching alongside a Switch Pro, which they like was rumored to be like revealed before E3. At some point, I don't get why they would do that, but it's Nintendo. So yeah, I think they're going to show off the Switch Pro soon, but 2, Breath of the Wild 2 is going to get a name reveal and a release date alongside the Switch Pro.
Interesting. I don't know if the Switch Pro comes out in September, like rumors say it's going to, I don't think Zelda's coming out at the same time. I think they let Zelda take its time to be developed and worked on. Because I mean, that's not to say that it's too soon. Like Breath of the Wild came out when the Switch came out in March of 2017. So 4.5 years. Like it could easily be done by September. But like, I just don't think so. I don't think it's this September. That'd be crazy though. That'd be awesome. But I just don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a wild card, but hey, we'll see we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, as always.
Tyler, throw back to you.
Okay, so I'm going to. All right, I'm going to throw this one out there before anyone else does, because I imagine someone's going to say it eventually. We're getting a new Smash character announced. A new Smash character will be announced at Nintendo's thing, and it will be released by the end of June. Because what they've been doing lately is they'll announce it, and then like the character gets released within like 2 weeks or so. So I think it gets announced, it gets released by the end of June. But I don't think this next character is a first-party character. Because we can't do patterns with Nintendo, but the first Fighters Pass only had, Byleth as a first-party character, everyone else wasn't. And then the second Fighters Pass so far has had Min Min, and no one else has been. So I don't think the next character is a first party. I'm also going to say, and I'm sorry, Internet, but The next character is not going to be Master Chief or Crash Bandicoot or Doom Guy. It's not going to be one of those three. I know it sucks, but it's not. I hope it's Sora. I sincerely hope it's Sora, but it's not. I mean, I've hoped it's Sora for the longest time. I doubt it's going to happen, but fingers crossed it is. But I'm also going to say that we're going to get confirmation of a third Fighters Pass. And the third Fighters Pass will feature 4 characters. It's going to feature 4 fighters, so that'll bring the total DLC amount of characters to 15, not including Piranha Plant. And that'll make the overall roster 86 characters. And this last Fighters Pass will be done by the end of 2022.
Interesting. I mean, I said, I can't remember if it was when we were still Games and Gaming or when we transitioned to Play to Win. But like me and Tyler had asked like who we want to see come to Smash. I'm still holding out hope for Reggie Fils-Aimé to come as a Smash character. Just as an homage to Reggie for all he did for Nintendo. Put him as his own character in Smash.
That would be really funny.
Colin, through you.
Ooh, I would like to see. They were like playing. Like I feel like there's an opportunity for them to make a new Super Mario Odyssey. They were looking like kind of like treading on that possibility. So I'm hoping we see something like along the lines of that. Just kind of like how they're announcing, the Breath of the Wild too. I feel like there's a good opportunity for Super Mario Odyssey to come into play too. I feel like with the new systems in play, like how we talked on last year, they were announced and like they released this past fall. I feel like there's a good Nintendo. I feel like kind of maybe feels like they might have. I know you don't want to do console wars here, but I feel like they're also like, okay, well, if you guys are gonna do this, like we got to come out with some like bangers of games.
Yeah.
Like bring out some big guns. So I feel like in that sense, 100%. I feel like Breath of the Wild was a big release, but I feel like even Super Mario Odyssey would be another like big step up. Be like, okay, well, you're gonna bring a new system. We'll just up the ante and bring a sequel to this game because everyone was really liked the first one. So I feel like that's a potential. Get the big Mario name out there. You bring that's your brand for. Let's be honestly, like Nintendo's big brand is Mario. So I mean, if they make a new Mario game, I mean that would kind of help them in the sense when, all the new consoles are kind of like trying to spread themselves apart from Nintendo in a sense. So like, they're trying to catch up to them a little bit by bringing a big sequel there. So I feel like that's a good option for them.
Yeah, no, I really, really enjoyed the first Super Mario Odyssey. So if they have another game like that, 100% picking that up. I'll chime in with mine. I'll chime in with my next one. I don't know if this is a long shot or not. I don't really have a horse in this race, although I really want to play this series. We might see something for Bayonetta 3 during Nintendo's E3. Maybe. I mean, the game got announced a while ago. Maybe we see something from it. Maybe we don't. But be interesting if we do.
Yeah, I had that here on my list saying it has a proper reveal. Because all we got was just like the announcement of it in 2017 and nothing since then. So I have here that it'll get revealed and it's coming next year.
Yep.
It'd be cool. It'd be cool if we see it. I've only played the first one. I've got to play the second one.
Luke, have I thrown to you for a second Nintendo prediction?
No, but I'm good to go. One of the ones that I'm really excited about, and it was teased 2017, but we haven't seen it yet. The project's sort of been on and off about it. Is Metroid 4? Yes.
that was what I was gonna say next. You took my next one.
About this, I'm super excited. Who doesn't love Samus? We saw it in 2017. I think we kind of heard the project was either on hiatus or canceled, but then they kind of came back. So I think hopefully we're going to see something big about Metroid, because I think that it's like something that Nintendo's been missing for years and years and years. And I think if we do release that and that comes out, one assumption or one thought that I have that would be really cool is what if we looked at getting that in like a first person situation, right? Like a first person Metroid Prime would be something that would be super, super interesting. Again, no ideas, but I hope that they tease something to do with something on Metroid this year. Tyler, do you have, I was going to say, do you have anything, any extra thoughts on that?
Well, so here's the thing. Like, I think, like I have it here. I think it'll come back. We'll get an actual gameplay trailer, and it'll say 2022 release window. Okay. I've never played the original games, but I think it's about time that this game appears. Because like you said, it was announced, and then like it was stuck in development, and then they restarted development with Retro, who were the ones who made the original trilogy. Before they jumped back onto the game, it wasn't them doing Metroid Prime 4. So yeah, I think it's about time we see it again. But I've been struggling, like, I wanted to add more details to it, but I'm not sure what to add because I never played the originals. They were all in first person, the original trilogy. So like, I'm wondering like what they would do with this one to like, you know, make it new and fresh. What new exciting ideas would bring to it? Aside, like, I imagine it would stay first person. Like that is what the Metroid Prime series is all about, being first person. So I imagine it would stay like that. But what extra things they would do to it, I have no idea. I imagine it'll be cool though.
Yeah, like first person Metroid on the GameCube, I remember I had so much fun with. And like I said, the first person is just a great experience to go through on Metroid. But because you think about like the old school like Game Boy ones, and you're like third person, but it's like, you know, just jumping up and down and shooting stuff. So
2D.
I think that'll be really, really exciting. So I hope that we see that because Metroid's always been just near and dear to my heart.
I hope we see it just for your sake.
Yeah, Tyler, you can go.
Okay, I was about to ask if it was my turn. Okay, so we've kind of all like bounced around and actually said a fair amount of the ones I had on my list here. So I'm gonna throw out that. All right, the Zelda anniversary is gonna get talked about some more because the last time they talked about it, all they said was, "Hey, Skyward Sword is a thing that's coming in July." But they kind of didn't say much more than that. I think they're going to give the anniversary more attention, and they will confirm what people have rumored or hoped for. That being that Twilight Princess and Wind Waker are going to come to the Switch. It'll be a 2-in-1 package for $60. And it's going to come in either October or November. Now, originally when I was making this prediction, I was thinking they'll release them separately, and they'll release them separately both as like either $20 or $30. But here's why I think they're not going to do that. Because if they were to do that, they wouldn't put them both out at the same time. I doubted they would do that. If they were to release them both separately, they would like kind of space them out. But Skyward Sword comes out in July. And then I'm thinking, well, when would they release the others without them stepping on Skyward Sword's feet? When people kind of aren't that big a fan of Skyward Sword, generally from what I see. People are more fans of Twilight Princess and Wind Waker. That kind of like just steps on Skyward Sword's sales. So yeah, I think we get a 2-in-1 package for them. October or November, it puts enough space between Skyward Sword and that. And, you know, it's either before or after Breath of the Wild 2 as well. Like that's also like a factor in things too. Because I don't think Breath of the Wild is this year. I think it's a next year game. So if these come out in October or November, that gives them like a big holiday type of game. 2 of the most beloved Zelda games on the Switch now for $60. People would happily pay it. I would, because I've never actually finished either of those games. I've gotten to the end of Wind Waker, and I got to the end of it when I was a kid, stopped playing for a while, came back, did not remember what I needed to do. And it was like during the whole like Triforce quest. So like you have to remember what you need to do back then. In Twilight Princess, I couldn't finish it. I had a weird glitch where I needed to cross the bridge, but the bridge was broken. And I knew I had to bring the piece of the bridge over. I knew I had to teleport it. And I have the guide, and I read what the guide said to do, and it was not working out for me. So I just never finished the game.
I have a question about your prediction that I'm really curious about. So we obviously last holiday season, which I think was incredible, we saw Nintendo release Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and Mario Galaxy in one like complete package. So like you said, Wind Waker. Do you think we'll see Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask come in for one package to sell over the holiday too, or do you think they're going to wait that one out?
That's a good one. I don't know, because I don't know. Because I think that they would be more inclined to bring Twilight Princess and Wind Waker first over. If they were, because I'm of two mindsets of this. If they're gonna bring Ocarina and Majora's Mask as well, it would either be those or Twilight Princess and Wind Waker, not both. But if they wanted to do all four, then you'd get all four in one package. But I don't think they would release.
Awesome.
I don't think they would do both of them in the same year, because then that's just like all the Zelda games are just going to cannibalize each other's sales.
For sure.
Even though people would buy them, but like that'd be, I hate to say it, Zelda overload to an extent in terms of spacing everything out and all. And then again, Breath of the Wild 2 is in the midst of all this. We don't know where that falls and stuff. But I didn't think about those two.
I was gonna say I would pay $100 to get those two games on the Switch. Like those are like classic games. So I was just curious what you thought if those would come out.
What were you gonna say?
Did you guys know? Did you guys know that Luke didn't know this and I had it, and I thought this was like common knowledge. They on the GameCube they re-released these games, and it was a collector's edition type of thing with like, it was super cool.
No idea.
And Luke had no idea.
I had
no idea.
Yeah,
I started playing it.
I think either I have that or it was like a demo. I think I have that. It's somewhere in my closet somewhere, but I have it. And I was so young at the time where like, I didn't care. Like I played a bit of Majora's Mask and I was like, this is stupid. I got it the whole time. I didn't understand. But yeah, I kind of thought that was something a whole lot of people knew about.
Yeah, I had no idea. I mean, I had the old school N64 ones, and I didn't even know if there was a GameCube release of it.
Yeah, it was awesome. I remember, same boat as you, Tyler. I had the game as a kid, and it was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I by the sounds of it, I am the least in touch with Zelda here. I've only ever played Breath of the Wild, Wind Waker, and the re-release of Link's Awakening.
Oh, you need to play Ocarina of Time. Oh, wow. That's unacceptable. That's the one game you have to play.
Well, I mean, I've never played Ocarina either. I've never played it.
What? Dude, no,
I like Zelda. I like it, but I've never been in love with it. The only two I've played are Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. And I understand Ocarina's legacy. I understand Majora's legacy. I've just never played them because I actually forgot I had that Majora's Ocarina thing for GameCube. I have to find it. Either I have it or someone I know has it.
Yeah, you have to. You have to. You need to play that. You need to.
It's like I had a 3DS when they did the remakes, but I never really played my 3DS at the time. And I'm pretty sure, like, I sold my 3DS, I think, after or before one of them came out, or both of them.
So yeah, I'm like.
Well, that's your homework now. You guys both need to play that game because it's by far the best, like one of the best Nintendo games at least.
I mean, my homework is also to play Breath of the Wild, a game that I really don't like. So I gotta power through that.
Yeah, don't say that. I haven't played that yet. So I mean, that's not good for me.
Yeah, whenever they release new Zelda games, I typically pick them up because I wasn't like super like Nintendo when I was growing up. I had a game. The GameCube was my first ever console, but I almost exclusively played Super Mario Sunshine. That's like
great game.
I would hate. I hate to think how many hours I have in that game as a kid. Like every single day when I came home from school, I was playing Super Mario Sunshine. So I didn't really play anything else. But Yeah, whenever they release new Zelda games, I'm always picking them up because the ones I have played I've really, really enjoyed. So if they were to release like collections of like Majora's Mask or other ones that you said, then I would 100% pick those up. Colin, I'll throw it over to you for your next Nintendo prediction.
Yeah. Actually, I'll pass on this. I feel like I don't have much else to say on Nintendo. I'm pretty pumped to talk on Xbox though. So I mean, whenever we go to that,
me too.
I'm fired up.
I have one other thing. This isn't a prediction. This is more of my feeling of utter depression and despair because we got a confirmation that we are not seeing the sequel to my favorite game come at this E3. We are not seeing Hollow Knight Silksong at E3 this year. I am absolutely gutted we are not seeing this, because if it was going to appear anywhere, it would appear at Nintendo, because that's where they announced Silksong back in 2019? 18. One of those years. I'm not gonna get into this because I could talk about Hollow Knight literally for hours. Like if you guys ever have an episode of Hollow Knight, 100%, I would love to come on for that. But no, I am so utterly gutted and destroyed. We are not seeing Silksong.
Sorry.
Luke and Tyler, if you have any other final predictions for Nintendo, feel free.
Nothing screaming. No, I mean, the only other thing I was thinking is like, just due to the success of the new Animal Crossing game, I could see them preemptively going into something else that might come out in 2022. I mean, like, I think COVID obviously was a massive reason behind the success of New Horizons. Yeah. But I think that we could see them churning out a new Animal Crossing game sooner rather than later. But that's pretty much my only other one that I had.
Yeah, going along the Animal Crossing train, I had just that I think New Horizons is going to get a substantial update. And I had two little things here that could be more than this, but like bringing new quality of life stuff, such as being able to craft multiple of items at once instead of having to do one at a time, or buying more than one type of clothing more than one specific type of clothing at a time. So like right now, when you go into the clothing store, if you want to buy multiple shirts, you can only buy one shirt. So if you want to get 5 shirts, you got to buy that one shirt. Then you step out. You got to go through the dialogue. Then go back in, buy the next shirt. Go back out. It's a process. It takes too long. Let me buy all of these I want at once. Save me time. And then like old events are gonna come back, but like in new ways that are more interesting and exciting. So, July was, I forgot what July was last year. No, July let us go into the ocean. So like maybe there'll be something new for July this year instead. Maybe with August for the fireworks, there'll be more stuff with the fireworks or something extra, things like that. But I think we'll get like a substantial type of update for Animal Crossing.
Yeah, like same boat. Like it's either a substantial upgrade or they'll just go right into a new one. But there's going to be some sort of Animal Crossing just due to how successful it was last year.
Yeah,
undoubtedly. But yeah, other than that, I think I'm good on Nintendo stuff. Everyone basically said in one way, shape, or form everything I have on my list here. So we're good.
Okay, with that being said, we're going to move on to the one that I think me and Colin are most excited to talk about, which is Xbox plus Bethesda. I'm gonna make us wait a little bit because I feel like we will have maybe a little bit more in-depth predictions than Luke and Tyler will. So I'm gonna throw it to Luke first, and then Tyler, and then I'll go over it, Colin.
Okay. I'm glad I'm starting first here because again, I have a wish list game that I'm really hoping, and hear me out when I say this. I would love Bethesda to announce Fallout 5. So Fallout.
Wow.
Yeah, but I'd love them to announce that it's going to be all consoles, which I've done a bunch of reading, and I've seen that Bethesda is still going to release games, or they have games in development that are going to be able to be purchased cross-platform. So I'm really hoping whenever you look at Fallout games, you know, we see Fallout 4 or like Fallout 3, and then they'll release a new game in between, then Fallout 4, then a new game. So we saw 76. So I'm hoping we're going to see Fallout 5 come, and I'm hoping that they're going to make it very clear that PlayStation owners can have it as well. So again, I am just hoping that's what we're going to see, because I'm a huge Fallout fan.
I would love, like, just like you said, it's probably not gonna happen. Yeah. But I would, especially on Xbox's stage, I highly doubt Phil Spencer's gonna sit there and say, "You can say it's coming," because watch Howard be like, "Oh yeah, it's coming to other platforms." Meanwhile, Phil's in the background, just like, or is it?
Yeah,
is it now, Todd Howard? But no, yeah, that'd be awesome.
That's just my wish list #1 hope.
I really don't want to be the crusher of dreams.
Don't do it.
I'm not saying it's not going to happen. It's not what I'm saying. It's just not going to be made by Bethesda Game Studios, because they're which like is the only way it could come, because their Starfield is their next game. After that, it is Elder Scrolls 6. That is confirmed that like they will be moving from that game to Elder Scrolls 6. If they have another team, if they set up another thing, I would love for Fallout 5 to come out. I'm also a big Fallout fan, so 100%. I would like to see that game announced, and honestly, I would also like to see it cross-platform, because I have talked about this several times on our podcast. I am a huge advocate for not taking away mainline entries of franchises to make them exclusive on platforms. I
respect that so much, especially with you guys getting Bethesda, like PlayStation saying that it's like, oh, well, like we don't really have any of those AAA game whatever. But yes, I completely agree. I think that those games that have been on like, you know, cross-platform for so many years, like I think it's almost unfair to take them away from us now, because like it just sucks. It just sucks.
Yeah, no,
especially because they're Bethesda games that have just giant legacies. Yeah. It's not like it's like Dishonored, which no shade to Dishonored. Dishonored's a great game. You know, the first two are awesome, but they are not on the same level as Elder Scrolls and Fallout. On that same industry community pedigree, it's not on that level. So like they deserve to be played by everyone. Like we haven't heard official, like solid confirmation that Elder Scrolls 6 is not coming to any other platform. We can infer that that's not going to happen based on things that have been said. Until we get that solid confirmation, the hope is still going to be there, because that would just be like devastating.
Yeah, again, as PlayStation people, I think Tyler and I we're on the same boat here, where it's just like that would be like awful, like absolutely awful.
Yeah. Speaking of Tyler, give me your first Xbox prediction.
All right. I got 13 to go from here. What do I want to start with? All right, I'm going to start big. I'm going to start big on this one. Halo Infinite is going to get another lengthy gameplay demo. It'll be another nice campaign mission that we see. And the game will look much better than the last time we saw it last year. Like graphically, it'll look much better, and people will be happy with what we see. They're gonna announce a multiplayer beta for the game. That'll be in either August or September. We'll probably see multiplayer footage as well during E3, but we'll get a multiplayer beta announcement. And then we're gonna get a solid release date. They're going to say a solid release date. Now, Keiran and I have talked about this before. I don't remember if it was we were Play to Win or Games and Game. We talked about this before. I have 3 release dates here, and I have them for different reasons. November 12th is the first release date I have in mind, if possible, because that is a Friday. Now, the next possible day is November 15th. I think that's unlikely because that's a Monday, but that is like the anniversary day of Halo. If they release it on that day, you get the anniversary catalyst part in it. If not, then they go to the 19th, which is the following Friday, November 19th. Now, I have these 3 days specifically though, because I also think that Battlefield 6, which we talked about before, I believe Battlefield 6 is going to be announced to have a release date of October 15th. Now, if Battlefield 6 is released into Game Pass day one, once that 1 month runs out, that 1 month goes right into the launch of Halo Infinite. And Microsoft's all about Game Pass. So I think that is why they're trying to get those dates specific. November 12th, 15th, and 19th.
I'm going to very quickly chime in. If this game is releasing on any day this year, it is going to be November 15th. 20th anniversary of Halo. It makes the most sense because one, it's the 20th anniversary of Halo. But two, I don't think they'll release it on November 10th, like a year after it was meant to release. I think they'll wait for that anniversary. For me, it's all about that anniversary. It's also my birthday on that day, so if you're listening, Microsoft, nice birthday present for me. But no, if this game is releasing this year, it is coming out on November 15th.
Let's see on June 13th when we find out.
Yeah. Colin, I'll throw it to you for your first Xbox prediction.
So I'm predicting Todd Howard having an awkward conversation with just like the overall E3 crowd, but I'm excited for Starfield, man. Like I think that game is gonna be off the charts. I feel like the way they're going about it, it's been so secretive for the most part. Like there's not like a lot out there about the game. I tried like finding like gameplay, everything on it. There's nothing really there yet. So I'm super curious on how they're gonna make this new IP, because what I've heard anyways is they're trying to make it like their next big thing. So you have Fallout, you have the Elder Scrolls Online and the Elder Scrolls like franchise, and you have Fallout 76, and like they're still adding stuff to that all the time. But what I think they're trying to do is make this like the next big like three things. So they're gonna go from kind of like you said, how like they'll do Starfield this year, next year Elder Scrolls 6, and probably maybe Fallout 5 after that. But the thing is, they've been building every year on that stuff, so they want to kind of have it so those are their three big topics. They'll kind of alternate every other year. So I'm really curious to see how this game goes. I'm gonna say it's gonna somewhat be like the Outer Worlds in a sense, but like if you played that game, it kind of reminds me a lot of like a Fallout game. And I'm pretty sure they had I'm pretty sure the creators were from Bethesda, or I forget where they're from. It might have been Bethesda, I forget, but I know they somehow worked. They try to make it like a kind of like a Fallout, but with more of a goofier approach. So I feel like Starfield will have that Fallout aspect and that Elder Scroll like type of aspects, but I feel like it'll be kind of in the world of the Outer Worlds. So I'm kind of curious on how they'll intertwine in that sense, because they kind of said, okay, here's the Outer Worlds, here's this type of RPG and sci-fi RPG. We're gonna do the same thing, but the way Bethesda works is I feel like they'll probably elevate the game. I feel like it'll be a lot better because, Outer Worlds was cool, but the story itself was kind of like not up to standards, I think, to a lot of people. So I feel like Starfield's, and they're going to go so more in depth compared to the Outer Worlds. And I feel like it'll just be like kind of like the same thing, but just a lot better in a way. So I'm pretty pumped to see how they're going to announce that and how the gameplay will look, what the story will be like. Hopefully they go in depth in that stuff. So I'm excited for that overall experience.
Yeah, I mean, basically confirmed we are seeing Starfield at E3, because if you look at the image the Xbox showed for their announcing their conference, in the bottom left there is a rather large image of that original Starfield trailer. So I'm fairly confident we are seeing this game at E3. I'm going to tack on to the end of your prediction with something on my list, then I'll go into my proper prediction after. Starfield is releasing Q1/Q2 of next year. Before I was pretty set it was releasing this year, but I've since changed that, and I think it's early next year is when that game is coming out. I don't think it's this year. But I also kind of tacking on to what you were talking about, they have to show this game, they have to show gameplay. But for one main reason, they have to show the fruits of the labor of the Bethesda acquisition. And they have to do it sooner rather than later to say, hey, this is what we're doing. This is what the next big game is. You can only play this on Xbox and PC. This is where you need to be to play it. This is what you're going to get. And I would be very surprised if we don't get a big, not necessarily maybe a lengthy gameplay demo, but maybe 5 minutes if I'd say at most, of gameplay of Starfield at E3. My prediction, it's kind of the two other main ones I had have both already been said, Starfield and Halo Infinite. The third one I have, we get new studio acquisitions. Specifically, we get 2 in total. One of them is in Japan. I think that's, I don't want to say that's a safe bet because, you know, they just got Bethesda, so I don't know if this is something they would necessarily announce now. But I mean, Xbox are always on the lookout for more people to buy. I think it makes sense that if they were going to talk about it, might do that at E3, and I reckon one of these developers is going to be in Japan because Phil Spencer has been very, very adamant on trying to get footholds in Japan for the longest time.
I had that here on my list too, and I also had, like, as a little fun little prediction, Sony and Microsoft just like make everyone mad with exclusivity deals.
Yeah,
and that whatever the acquisition is, depending on who it is, will make people very mad.
Yeah. Colin, I'll throw you. Sorry, no, Luke. I'm going around the square. Luke, I will throw to you again for.
Yeah. I like, just because of the exclusivity, I could see us seeing maybe potentially something new with Sea of Thieves for Xbox. So I think that the game, I know that the game definitely had mixed reviews, but I know that there's still a pretty decent player base and everything like that. So I could see us maybe seeing a sequel or something like that in terms of Sea of Thieves. I've never played it. But again, it's definitely a franchise. I've heard about a franchise that I think is done fairly well. So it would be interesting to see if we could see them, announcing maybe a new saga in the Sea of Thieves chapter.
Yeah, I absolutely adore Sea of Thieves. It's a lot of fun. So I don't know if they'll announce anything E3 because they typically don't. I don't know. You know, who knows? We could see anything. the thought just kind of came and went out of my head. I'm like, yeah, screw it, move on. Tyler.
All right, I'll go easy one here. We're gonna see Perfect Dark gameplay. We got the announcement last year, December. I think we are going to see gameplay for it. Because I mean, it's been in production for a while. Time to see gameplay. And I think we get a 2022 release window. I think they put a year on it at the very least to get people excited.
That's a bold prediction.
It is bold. I know that. But in my head, it makes sense. Because I think that studio's been around working on this game since 2018.
Yeah, initially it was formed 2018.
Yeah, they were formed in 2018. You imagine they've been working on this game since then. It was first announced last year at the Game Awards, right? Yeah, Game Awards. That sounds right in my head. So, they had enough to show us a CG trailer then. I think now is the time to show gameplay. Even if, that's what I'm saying, the game's not coming out this year. I don't believe that. This year is Halo. This year is all about Halo. Mm-hmm. Next year is the earliest Perfect Dark comes out.
Interesting. I mean, I hope you're right because I really want to see what that game is. I do not agree with you.
I mean, if I said one of my other predictions, I would have been feeling very bold. But I think I'm way more confident in this one than that one.
Okay. I mean, like I said, I hope so because I want to see what that game looks like. Colin, I'll throw it to you now.
Yeah, so they announced it already, but there's gonna be a Fable 4, a very long but overdue game. Mm-hmm. So I'm very excited because there's no existence of any form of title cards or cinematic trailers yet for this game. So I think Microsoft, kind of like how you said with Bethesda, how they have to start laying that groundwork down. I feel like in that sense, you got to lay the groundwork down for some of these other games. Like this is an Xbox exclusive as well. Like Fable's was one of the biggest RPGs on Xbox, and you had 1, 2, 3. I think the third one was out in like 2012. So it's been a long time, like almost 10 years since a Fable game came out. So I think at this point, like they got to lay out like that loose scheduling for these games. Like it's a big release, so if it's a year away, if it's a couple years away, like I want to know this year. So if they have any sort of cinematic trailer or, you know, again, like any title cards or something, like something just to like, you know, spice it up a little bit. I feel like this is the time to drop it. Like I said, COVID kind of screwed up a lot of in the world, everything in the world, it kind of screwed it up. But even like you got to think about it, like the games are all pushed back a bit just because you can't work. They weren't working on it for a length amount of time. So I'm curious to see if they announce this game. But yeah, there's the same thing with there's like another game like Forza. Forza is supposed to be announced too. So I mean, I don't know exactly when the dates will drop, but like it's like you got to start doing it at some point. So I feel like this is the perfect time to at least announce Fable. It's a very big fan base. A lot of people enjoyed playing those games 10 years ago. I mean, it's nuts. I feel like it's time to like, you know, they announced it, so like let's like drop some stuff. Let's drop a release date or something. Whether it's a year or two away. Yeah,
no, 100%. Like I absolutely love Fable. It's one of my favorite video game franchises. So I'm very, very excited to see what this reboot is going to be about. Playground Games, very good game developers. I really, really enjoyed Forza Horizon 4. So I'm excited to see what they do with Fable. In the realm of Playground Games, I have Forza Horizon 5 is announced and released this year.
Yeah, I have both of those on my thing here. I have Horizon 5 announced, coming from Playground specifically, and also coming in October. And then for Fable, I say that it's we get a trailer for it because we got a trailer for it last year where they showed like it was a cinematic trailer, but we got a trailer for it saying, "Hey, it's just called Fable."
Yeah.
So I think this year we get a trailer for it that shows gameplay and it details the story in the world, but I don't think they put a date on it because you know they announced it last year, and although you can imagine it's been in development for a bit at that point in time, you could also imagine COVID, like you said, has thrown everything off, and putting a date on things as of now, especially after what happened with Cyberpunk, people are not going to want to put dates on things until like they're pretty confident in it.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
Yeah, no, I want to see as much Fable as possible. Like if you have gameplay to show me, give it to me. If you have a release date, yes please. But please just take the time you need to make the game good.
Right.
Luke, I'll throw it back to you.
I'm running out of Xbox. I might just pass on this one because, like I said, I've really never been an Xbox dude, so I don't want to speak out of turn here.
Sure. Yeah, Tyler.
Okay, I will say I got two bold ones. Do you want to get both of them now, or do you want one now and then like I save the other for when?
Do one now.
All right, I'll do one bold one now. Everwild shows off actual gameplay, but we don't get a release window.
I have that one on my list as well.
This is that game from Rare where like they've shown CG, well not CG, but like cinematic trailers of like the world and stuff, but no gameplay. And then last year they said, yeah, we actually still don't even know what the game really plays like. We're still figuring that out. So that's why I think, like, because they've shown it 2 years in a row. They can't go a third year showing nothing. So I think this year we see some actual gameplay, like what the game actually is.
Yeah.
But we still don't get a release window since there's still, you know, COVID and figuring stuff out and all.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I think we're gonna at least see something from Everwild, and I don't think it's gonna be just another trailer.
Even though I said that, I'm not that confident in it. Not that confident in this one.
Colin, do you have any more?
I'm okay to move on as well. I think we touched on the big ones. If you guys want to drop one more like big prediction, I mean, go for it.
Yeah. I'm looking through my list. I legitimately have like 28 predictions for Xbox. So I'm trying to pick one. I'm gonna say the Reveal Compulsion's new game. I mean, that's one of the only ones that we don't know what they're working on. So I think we see their new game, and We Happy Few came out in 2017, 2018, something like that. So
That sounds about right.
yeah, I think we see what their new game is. I think they might do like a gameplay trailer for it, maybe, but I don't think we get a release date for it.
I forgot they existed. I always genuinely forget about them until someone mentions them. I'm like, that, yep, they are a thing. Yeah, I'll just throw this last one out there.
Sure.
It is maybe a Hail Mary, but who knows? We will see the next game from Hideo Kojima at Xbox this stage.
I also have that.
I don't know if it's necessary. I don't know if it's exclusive, but it gets revealed there. No date. No date attached to
No.
it.
I don't even have we see his next game. I just have like a confirmation of them working with Kojima. That on my list. I don't have like a specific thing like we'll see his game. But I think we might get because there was rumors earlier this year that Kojima is working with Xbox on a new game. So yeah, I think we might see something from him.
We'll see. That's it. That's it for me.
Okay, and now we're gonna go into Sony, which I'm sure Luke and Tyler are very excited for. So we're gonna wait until we hear from them, and I'm just gonna shoot my first one. I think we see and stick with me on this one because this is I think this is quite bold. I think we see a very like a 20-second teaser for a Spider-Man 2.
That's on my list
Insomniac.
Too. That's absolutely
wow.
on my list too.
And
yeah.
And when I say like 20-second teaser, I'm like nothing to do with story, nothing to do with gameplay. We just see the thing I have in my head is if you look at the first like 20-30 seconds of the Miles Morales like the first trailer, the announcement trailer, where like it's Miles' hand outstretched with a suit peeling off him to reveal Miles. Something in like the vein of that, just like confirming that a new Spider-Man game is in development. Nothing in terms of release date, gameplay, anything like that. Just confirming that there is one.
I actually, like I said, I have that written down because I think Spider-Man Miles Morales could have more been a DLC for the original Spider-Man than a full second game. So I think that I really do think that they'll be announcing at least something saying, "Hey guys, we're working on this." So same boat as you.
See, I kept going back and forth on whether or not it would be here, but I ultimately settled on it's not here at the show because it was the Spider-Man came out 2018 and they've been working on Ratchet and Clank and Miles Morales. And both those games are coming out within 6-7 months of each other. I don't think that they have enough of a proper Spider-Man 2 to show off just yet. I don't think, like, they definitely don't have enough to show off yet, but I don't think that they want to announce it just yet either. I think they want to wait. I think if we get an announcement of it, it happens next year, where we get a proper announcement that, hey, the sequel's on, like, it's in development. We already know it's in development for sure, but like, hey, like confirmation, it's here, and like a tease of what the story's about. I think right now, I think it might be a bit too early for us to get Spider-Man 2 stuff, but I would love it. I'm not saying I don't want it. I would absolutely love it. I kept going again, went back and forth on this.
Okay, Colin, I'll throw it to you.
Yeah, I'm not. See, Sony's gonna be tough because I'm not the biggest, again, Xbox, so it's not like it.
Yeah,
it's something that really jumps out to me. I'm interested in just more to see like certain things. Like I'm really curious to see how they go about the God of War thing. Like I'm curious just to see if they like that with how they like expand off of what was the last one that came out 2018.
I think 19.
Yes.
Or was it 18? 19.
I'm curious.
Or was it 18?
I'm curious.
Same year as Spider-Man.
Oh, and then I think it's called God of War Ragnarok is what they're assuming.
Yeah, that's what we all assume.
Yeah, so I'm really curious to see if they like go on about like maybe showing gameplay at any point in this. I don't think it comes out this fall at all, because I think they're working on it probably right now. But if they have anything done, I feel like it'd be really cool if they show that this year at their event, just to, build off that, because I feel like it's something that is a huge series for Sony, and I think everyone really enjoys playing those games. So if there's any point they like, show anything about it and maybe like announce it for maybe a year away or whatever, I feel like that'd be really cool.
Yeah, I have it on my list too. I said that it's gonna get a new trailer and it'll be a gameplay demo, just like when the first one was announced back in 2016. But I also said that it is confirmed to be PS5 exclusive, not coming to PS4 like Miles Morales or Horizon. And I also said here that it's coming next year, because even last year when they said it was 2021, I was like, no way.
Yeah.
No way that game comes out this year. I would love it. I don't think so. I think they let that game cook as long as it needs to, because the first one was a masterpiece.
Yeah.
And it has a lot to live up to. So I think they let it cook and it gets pushed into next year.
Okay. We'll move on to the PlayStation people. Tyler, well, I'll go to you first.
So we're gonna get this is bold in a sense. We're gonna get more games added to the PlayStation Plus collection on PS5. They're gonna announce more games. Now they have 20 on there. 10 of them are first party, 10 of them are not. I have 10 here listed out. 5 of them are first party, 5 of them are not. The games I have are Horizon Zero Dawn, Resogun, which was at the PS4 as a launch by Housemarque, who just made Returnal, Neo, Dreams. They'll have that in PS Plus to give it more life. Street Fighter V, because that's been PS4 exclusive. That'll be another fighting game in the PS Plus collection, because right now it's only Mortal Kombat 10. Then there'll be Nier Automata, Shadow of the Colossus. Now these final 3 are like the real no way it'll happen, but I just wanted to throw it out there. Now the next one I have is The Witcher 3.
Oh.
I do not think this would happen, but if it did, I don't think it would happen because of Sony and CD Projekt's relationship right now.
Not good.
Cyberpunk got delisted. I don't think it'll happen. But I think that Witcher 3 being put in there will be a sign that they are working towards bettering their relationship. And also, it's one of the best games of the past generation.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So there's that.
Don't know if you can see
Death Stranding is the
Geralt statue that's there.
kind of sort of see. I think I see like his gray hair. But the next one I have here is Death Stranding, coming to the PS Plus collection. Yeah, it might not have been that great, but like it's like, synergized with the PS4, with the PlayStation generation. And then last but not least, definitely never gonna happen, but we'll love it, Red Dead Redemption 2.
Ooh, okay.
Because Rockstar will not put GTA 5 on there because GTA makes way too much money for them. Red Dead makes them a lot of money too, but it's not as much of a money seller as GTA 5. So I could see them giving it to them for the PS Plus collection. But it's also a Rockstar game, so I could see them saying, no, that's not happening.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely like to see more games added to that collection, because when I eventually get my PS5, it means I'll have more games to play.
Precisely.
Luke, I'll throw it to you now.
Yeah. So one of the ones that I think it's sort of a fairly safe bet is just in terms of talking Last of Us and talking what's going on there. So I don't think they're going to announce a Last of Us 3 as much as I obviously wish that they would. But what I think that we're going to spend some time seeing is they've been talking about up-resing Last of Us and Last of Us 2 for the PlayStation 5. So I think we're going to be seeing some gameplay on PlayStation 5, and I think we're going to be seeing essentially the change in graphics and the change in pretty much resolution, everything that we're looking at in terms of Last of Us. And I think they're maybe going to touch on a multiplayer that they've been sort of hinting at quite a bit lately. So I think that we're going to have a Naughty Dog combination, and I think that it's going to be talking about those two things specifically.
You took it right off my list because I had that too. I had the part 2 multiplayer gets revealed and it's standalone like Ghost of Tsushima's multiplayer was. Free for people who have Last of Us 2. And I have it coming later this year. And then I also have the Last of Us remake, which very controversial. I don't think that needs to exist. It doesn't need to exist. The first one's fine as
Graphics are that
is.
beautiful.
But,
yeah.
Right. But the Last of Us remake is actually formally revealed. And I don't have a time when it's coming out, but whenever it comes out, it's going to be integrated with the multiplayer that's already out there for Last of Us 2.
Same wavelength here, I think.
See, we're on this right now.
Okay. Well, I might be about to steal Luke from you with my next one because something that I think it will make an appearance here because Sony have I think it's the marketing deal for this game, and also DLC comes to PlayStation early. I'm fairly confident we are going to see Destiny 2: The Witch Queen at Sony's conference.
I need to jump in. I have them listed as, like you said, any sort of wild card guesses. I have Bungie Witch Queen.
Because the Witch Queen is their 2021 expansion for Destiny. Then, what's next year's one? Lightless, something like that. Lightfall. Yeah. So they have to announce it soon if they are sticking to that 2021 release date, and because Sony have the marketing and like the deal with Bungie for it, this is the perfect place to announce it, or to show it off for the first time at least.
Well, actually, question: do they still have that? Because I know they had that when Bungie was under Activision, but Bungie's not under Activision anymore. So do they still have it, or is it just like on their own thing now?
Oh, maybe not actually.
Yeah, I don't think so. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure about that. But it'd be cool if we did see something for it. I'm not saying we shouldn't. I do think we should. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, I'm very excited for it. I really, really hope it comes to Game Pass day one, like Beyond Light did.
Okay. Crazy one here. But I think it's finally going to happen. I think a new Silent Hill is finally going to be announced on the PlayStation stage. I think it will finally be confirmed to be PlayStation exclusive, and I think it will get a 2022 release window.
Interesting.
It's bold, I know, but this has been rumored for, at least like 2-3 years now, and I feel like it has to come to fruition at some point in time. And I mean, I think there's also the fact that there were rumors earlier this year that Bloober Team, the team that made the Medium, they were working on a Silent Hill game. There were rumors about that. But then like kind of coming off those rumors was confirmation, or I guess more rumors, that there are 2 Silent Hill games in development, and one of them is from a Japanese developer, and it will be announced this summer. So I think if rumors are true, I think this is the year it actually happens.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I've never played Silent Hill, as you know, Tyler. I am not a horror game person. I am a big baby, so wouldn't.
Neither am I.
The last one I have is just Sony will like very, very, very briefly touch on PSVR 2. Like the most will, like the absolute most we'll get is either like they'll show off like a prototype for the headset, or they might show like a VR game and then like maybe like a 20-second teaser or something, and at the end it'll say in development for PSVR 2. But I don't think we're gonna get a lot from it.
Yeah, I have here that it'll be formally revealed and that Half-Life Alyx will be on it. But I don't have much else for it.
Yeah. Anyone else want to throw out a final PlayStation prediction before we move on to our quick fire round?
I'll shoot off one last one here. I mean, I have a whole bunch, but I'll shoot off this one last one to appease the fans of this game. Bloodborne 2 is going to be announced. There's not going to be a date though, but it will be announced to be coming.
Yeah, I had this on my XS predictions. I don't think this is coming anytime soon.
Probably not, since From is working on Elden Ring and who knows what else, but
yeah. Okay, that will do it for our mainline conference predictions. I realize we've been going for a little while, so we are very quickly going to get through our quickfire round. If anyone just has any predictions you didn't get a chance to mention before, feel free to shout them out.
all right. I'll shoot off some. I think that we are going to get a new game announced from NetherRealm, the developers behind Mortal Kombat, and I'm going to say it is either one of these two things. It is either a straight up Marvel fighting game, or it's a Marvel versus DC game, and it's going to be coming this year in October. Because Ed Boon has kind of been teasing Marvel stuff, and people have been thinking, hey, maybe they're working on a Marvel fighting game over there. I think that's actually legit. I think we see it this year at E3, and I think it's coming in October. Two more. Elden Ring is not going to be here. Sorry, it's not happening. I don't think so. And then Wolf Among Us 2 is going to make an appearance. And the whole season is going to be released at one time, and it's coming out next year.
Interesting. I never played the original series of that.
The first season is really good. The first season is a really good one.
Okay, I have a few. Most of them are Xbox related, so I'll very quickly run through a couple of them. We see a trailer for Minecraft ray tracing on series consoles. Flight Sim gets an Xbox release date. We see Wolfenstein 3. Microsoft partnering with Ubisoft for Game Pass. The next gen version of The Witcher 3 is revealed, since we know CD Projekt Red is working on that. We get a release date for Scorn, the like weird body horror kind of game that we've seen a couple of times. Release date for Psychonauts 2, Hellblade 2 gameplay, and then a random one for Nintendo, a new Donkey Kong game.
I have like 3 or 4 of those on my list here.
And then also Skate 4 for EA. I think we see something for Skate 4. But yeah.
I was going to put that. Yeah, I was going to put that, but I didn't, because I know that like they just started a new studio to make that game like a few months ago. So I was like, I don't think we see it, but man, that'd be cool. I never played the Skate games, but again, I know the legacy and I know that people love it, and it's great to have it back. So I want to see more of it.
Yeah, that will conclude my kind of quick fire round for predictions, which will conclude this very awesome running E3 predictions episode for this year. Let me just very quickly open up the doc again so I can. Once again, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at PlayToWinGame, where you'll get updates on YouTube videos, podcast episodes, and everything Play to Win. You can also follow Gameaholic Pod on Twitter and Gameaholic Podcast on Instagram and Twitch. I think we can all agree. Been very awesome guests. Very glad you came on. It's been very fun. Yeah, no, this has been a lot of fun. It went slightly longer than I think I was expecting it to, but very good conversation overall.
Yeah, I share the same sentiment as Keiran. It was a great show. It was great having you guys on here, and we would definitely love to come on and review a game with you guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, awesome times. Very happy to have you all. It was fun.
100%. And with that, I'm going to close it because, like I say, we've been going for quite a while. Thank you all very much for watching. By the time this comes out, I guess E3 will be about a week and a half away. So have a good E3, everyone, and we will see you for the next episode of the podcast.
Have a good one, guys.